Yeah, definitely. I lost my brakes there with 3 laps to go. I was extremely flustered and little prolonged goggle stop. Then decided that I wanted to pin it down for a road, forgetting that my front brakes were still going. Blew the banner. I don't know if you guys saw that. Yeah, so no, it was intense. I mean, trying to push that hard in ruts when you need that front brake. That front brake allows that front tire to dive and stay at the base of stuff. So the front end's trying to come up. Had to adapt there a bit and made some mistakes. Had some big crashes, and you know, it was one of those days I had to work for it. But man, to do it without fronts and everybody, I'm sure, was losing the rears. There was a lot of downhills that last lap where I was just praying that we were going to make the next turn. But able to hold it off, and man, it was a hell of a race. That's a fun battle. It's obviously more comfortable when you got a lead, but man, it's enjoyable to battle like that. Yeah. Where were you going right there? Up around the right?
Last lap I went way outside. I was doing the outside line.
Really? Ricky got hung up in that. That's why I was going inside. Because when Ricky was leading,
I was doing the outside line.
Whoa.
Nasty, dude.
That was brutal.
I guess it was fun, but at the same time, it was tough, man. That track got a lot worse than what I really anticipated. I did not expect it to fall away that quick, and it was like Georgia, just kind of like a free-for-all, man. Just cross-rutting, ruts everywhere, and places where you couldn't go and places where you could. So some spots, it was nasty, man. That was you don't do types of races like this very often, so I guess when you have them, it's good practice, but at the same time, it's a race, so it's like it's not really practice time. So, but man, that was tough, man. The last lap, we were back and forth, and it's frustrating because I had a really good race, but I ended up second to the guy that I needed to beat. So, not taking that very well, I guess. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I lost the rear, but I had fronts. And then the last lap, I lost fronts. So it was all right. I just downshifted.
Yeah, I saw I was riding first gear.
Yeah. Sketchy.
I won last long downhill down the
ski road?
Yeah.
Kickers?
And they had hard right long. That one was hard. Yeah, I got passed by Liam and reared him going down that last lap. Yeah.
My bike was doing this thing, if I let off, it would die. So like on downhills, I'm trying to let off because I got no brakes, and it was dying, and BK was like all over me.
He crashed, right?
Dude, it was chaos right there. Lappers everywhere, and it was deep. And
I did that on like 2 or 3 downhills. The bike just died, and the rear wheel just locked up, and then you're just sliding sideways down the hill.
Sketchy. Dude, thank God it rained in the middle. Because if it didn't, it would have got so tacky. And it was all right. We were kind of like last year, got in the lead. Got a little cushion, but then Stu was hard charged, and I couldn't see very good, and I threw the goggles, and I actually was able to pull him a little bit. Came in pits about halfway, and stayed in the lead, but when I hit auxiliary over there, it was like ice. I spun around backwards. It was on my head before I knew it, and then Stu and Craig got around me, and I tried to charge to get back to him, and just kept making mistakes trying to charge. So lost a lot of time to him, and ended up losing some brakes towards the end, and just kind of trying to bring it in to hold on to third because BK was coming and he was pushing me hard. So I was happy to hold on to third.
First one ever. It feels good.
Yeah. Talk me through your race. How did it go?
Really good. I led from start to finish. I got the whole shot, and I didn't make it long, and Liam passed me there, and I kind of just settled in behind him and was riding pretty good, and we was carrying a good pace, and then all of a sudden he just hit a hole and sunk it. So I got around him, and once I got around him, I caught XC1, and I was able to ride with those guys all day, and pretty much, and just follow their lines up until about the last lap, and it was real good race. It feels really good. We've been really close a lot this year, and to finally get it done and lead from start to finish like that is a big deal. So just happy that everybody's sticking behind me and the whole team that's there to support me.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I appreciate you back there. Grant Davis, he found his way here.
Maybe. And we're popping bottles. There it was. He made you wait on it. The champagne spraying out here at the Mountaineer GNCC.
Put your hands together for your XC2 podium here from the Mountaineer GNCC. What a race it was, a historic.
Hey, Mike, you ready, boy? Hey, it's a beautiful day. I'm ready. Smell a long summer. I'm ready to do it.
Jay Sexton vibes only, thank you. Not so Slim Shady also.
What do you think?
I'm just gonna say a quick prayer for him this evening.
So my first ever 4x4 Pro win was here. No, good vibes here. Always do well here. Really like the property, really like the track, like the rocks, like the technical. So this track's right up my alley, and we're excited for today.
Yeah, I think it's more like a Wainoa. It's like a tight technical, so I'm looking forward to it. Woo! We're ready to go! See you in about 2 hours!
Come and take a ride with me. Up so high to go no faster. Join me for a cup of tea. Remember those lows when you got me high. Both feet on the ground and we touch the sky. Just a little sunshine. Time to make you mine. I can do all of your tricks. I can give you all your kiss. Just a little sunshine. Time to make you mine. I can get all your fears. I can give you all your time to make you mine. I can do all of your tricks. I can get you on your kiss.
Let's do it, man. Want to collect my thoughts a little bit on this? I don't know. A lot of fish, a lot of drama this year. A lot of stupid drama over this championship. And I'm just here putting in good laps, trying to have fun with this, not trying to, be cheeky or a cheat or anything. Just trying to put in good, solid races and using the track. Right here at the finish line, if you guys know, I took this line last year. No one had an issue with it last year. This year, I take it. All of a sudden, a big deal. They bring out the tape measures. GNCC cleared me, legal line, and there's still drama and they're still upset with me. They can't just take that one on the chin. But no, we put in a good day of racing. I thought I had a lot of fun. I thought it was a great battle. I thought I made a clean pass. I have nothing respect for Landon and Brandon, and I'm looking forward to the next two. Gonna have fun no matter what.
It was actually a lot of fun. Some people might not like it because it was really rocky and rough, but my shocks are dialed in great, and I just let the bike take it. So.
Good job, Evan.
which kind of sucks because the faster you go, the smoother it is. So I'm like, all right, I'm tired, but I just got to go for it because my bike's going to handle better going fast. So I ended snowshoe with a win, and I started back off after summer break with a win, so I'm feeling good. I know. Thank you.
Yeah, people keep telling me that I'm in the wrong spot, but I don't know. I came here for a good time, so today I'm in the right spot today. I like that. I think I am too. No, I haven't seen any. I watched the GoPro, and I'm hoping that the GoPro will take me through the right way. Because I don't have a great feeling about it, but I'm just here to have fun. If I get the whole shot, I'm in trouble, but I don't think that'll happen. So.
No, I was informing him of when to pee and not pee his pants, actually.
That's only the starting.
Yeah, that's legit what I was informing him of.
I'm feeling ready. Had a good summer racing back home. Just got some wins up there at the local series. Been having fun and just want to keep moving with it here.
That's pretty good, but my God, we have waited all summer long for this. We are back. Are you ready to go GNCC racing? Seconds for run number 1, the XC1. Oh, not a great start for Cole Richardson. He is buried in the back of the pack. Going up and getting it, the number 9, the sneaky snake, the Cobra, Jared McClure. Bryce and Neal gonna bring it in for the checkered flag. There it is, win number 23 on the career, and if I'm not mistaken, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, win number 6 on the season.
Hey, Raider, man, how's your summer? Good, real good. A lot of good food, pizza, wings, some good off time, a lot of good seat time too. We had fun. No, it wasn't. It wasn't easy. I had a little bit of a crash last Friday and banged up my shoulder and been stiff. I got the ride this weekend. Every lap, I just got a little bit more comfortable, a little bit better. I was a little bit tight and a little bit rigid at first, but once I got that adrenaline, then we really started to kind of turn the mind off and start the rock and kind of ride the way we should have. So the track was awesome. Had a
historical season is almost to its finish, but we've got a lot to sort out. We have seen so many winners this year. We have seen the highs and lows for just about every single rider in the XC1 on display this season. But it all comes down to this. 2 rounds left. Stu Baylor, your points leader. Craig DeLong, just a couple of points back from him. And Ben Kelly still in this fight. Obviously, Stu coming off the big win. He sits with the advantage today. But you talk to Craig after the race, not happy with the finish. He knows, hey, that's the one guy I needed to go out there and beat. I didn't get it done. I have to come back out in the next round and get the job done. So Craig DeLong, he's going to be riding like a man on a mission here today. And I got to say, you cannot count out Ben Kelly. I can't believe I'm saying this. He's kind of the underdog in this situation. He's a former champion himself. He's coming off an injury that by all rights, if it ended his career, everybody would have said, okay, we get it. But he's back. He's been making progress. He's been working his tail off all season long, and he is in position to still be a contender in these last 2 rounds. I expect to see some huge things out of Ben Kelly here today and in the next round. So the stage is set. Who's going to have the advantage? We will not crown a champion today in the XC1 class. It's got to come down to the last round in Indiana, but nonetheless, the road to the national title goes through the Buckwheat 100.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racing!
Good afternoon and welcome to round number 11 of the 2023 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. We're here in Newburgh, West Virginia, home of the Canati Buckwheat 100. You may know this place as CJ Raceway. Of course, to the GNCC Racing Nation, we know it as the Buckwheat 100. Well, a lot at stake this weekend. It without a doubt has been a historical season in GNCC. The amount of winners we had, it took until we got to round number 8 before we saw our first 2-time winner of the season. Now, since then, Ben Kelly's got a couple of wins under his belt. Craig DeLong, a couple, obviously. And Stu Baylor, the winner of the last round, round number 10. And he comes into it, most importantly, with that points lead, a 5-point lead over Craig DeLong. And he's got a little more than that over Ben Kelly. Those 3 guys still statistically in this. But let's talk. Let's break it down. Stu Baylor, obviously the advantage. He's coming off the win. He has the points advantage. He has the confidence heading into this one of, you guys got to show me something because I'm doing my job. Let's flip it. Let's go to Craig DeLong. The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider was not satisfied with a second-place finish. He said, I needed to finish in front of one guy. I failed to do that. I failed to finish in front of the guy I was supposed to finish in front of. I've got to come out swinging. And I couldn't agree more. Craig, he's got to find that dog in him. He's got to find that fight. He's got to get up there, figuratively punch Stu Baylor in the chops, because you know Stu is not going to hold back. This is going to come down to the wire. And then, I can't believe, again, I'm saying this, but let's call him what he is. At this point, is he the underdog? Is that going to upset him to say that he's the dark horse in this championship race? Does it light a fire under Ben Kelly? Is he going to make me eat my words? I hope so. I want to see some fire out of him these last couple of rounds. You know, Ben Kelly came off an injury that was, a lot of thought, is he going to come back? And if he does, in what capacity does he come back to racing? Well, here we are with 2 rounds left, and the man is still a contender for the title. You cannot count him out. He's a former champion. He knows what it takes to get this done, and he's certainly capable of it. Will he make it happen here today? Will he make it happen at Ironman? Anything can happen. That is the one thing we have learned for sure from this season in 2023. So All that and more. We're going to have some great battles in the XC2. Liam Draper poised, ready, wants to wrap up that XC2 title. And, of course, we got to wrap up the FMF XC3 as well. Hey, it's fall, baby. It's October. Hope you're in the fall spirit. Get those sweaters, get the pumpkin spice lattes. We're going to take a short break, and after a commercial break, we'll come back with the start of this, the Canati Tires Buckwheat 100 GNCC. All right, and a good afternoon to everybody watching at home on RacerTV.com. This is round number 11 of the 2023 Progressive Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, your AMA National Championship. Round number 11, the Canati Tires Buckwheat 100 GNCC. As you guys are tuning in, I think we are just about ready now for rider intros. Jeremy, are you ready? All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's introduce you to your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class. Riding to the line in accordance to points, your points leader, not a lot of it, but a little bit. Make some noise. The 5-1-4 out of Hodges, South Carolina on a Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM, Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next, the 3-4-2. He got that. Australia aboard the Babbitts Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, Josh Strang. Rolling to the line next, the 5-2-3 out of Boonville, North Carolina on an FXR Lane Michael Racing Gas, Lane Michael. Rolling to the line next, the 7-3-9 out of Morganton, North Carolina, aboard the Rockstar Energy Factory Racing Husqvarna, Trevor Bollinger. Rolling to the line next, we welcome on the helmet, the scoring number is going to be the 814, a rider out of Canada on the Rider's Edge, Troy Lee Designs, backed Gas, Owen McGill. Rolling to the line next, the 3-5-2. Another rider out of Canada on the Canada KTM and Ray Queef's back ride, Felipe Cheney. Rolling to the line next, the 178 out of Australia on the Babbitts Online Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki, Lyndon Snodgrass. And now we welcome to the XC1 Pro Class the number 10 out of Dorothy, New Jersey, on that Coastal Racing Factory gas, Ryder Lafferty. And last but certainly not least, we welcome the 347 out of Jefferson, Georgia, on the Liquid Moly Factory Beta machine, Evan Smith. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class here at the Canati Tires Buckwheat 100 GNCC. And as our riders in the XC1 Pro Class get themselves settled there on row number 1, DJ Judd jumps out of the Monster Energy Activation Transport into the RMAX 1000 Yamaha, and we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat. Yeah, buddy. It's like a Beyond Burger. We take the meat right out. That's not true. Miss me with the Beyond Burger. I want that triple stack, double the bacon, double the cheese, all American. God bless, that's what we're here for. All right, folks, now all attention will go down into turn number 1, where Ricky Towery, the maestro, will take the reins of this race, and we go as he goes, as he waits on the signal, and he's walking around the hay bale now. And he will go through the motions. A big breath, a big deep breath there by Ricky as he steps forward to let our riders know 1 minute. 1 minute until we are ready to go. Canati Tires. Buckwheat 100 GNCC Racing. Now Ricky will step out to the side. He's going to look down at his watch and keep his eyes on the time to wave the blue flag. And there it is. The blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we are just about ready to go now for round number 11. And I got to ask you, West Virginia, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? That's pretty good, but my God, it's sweater weather, baby. We are in the heartland of off-road racing. I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and we're off. Look at the drive by Craig DeLong out in front. The 342 will be challenged by Ricky Russell, but no, there's Ben Kelly on the outside. Two riders that desperately need a win today are out in front in this one. It is going to be a long day in the XC1 Pro Class. As we reset the deck and we focus on the XC2 250 Pro Class, Gus Reardon, Bub Sasha, Zach O, Mason Simmons. Oh, Ricky's way up there. I'm gonna have to run back and forth. He's making me work for it now. That's all right, I'll take it. Liam Draper trying to capture a title here today. Can he make it happen? 10 seconds. Brody Johnson, Mike Wachowski, Jesse Ansley, Cade Henderson, Grant Davis, Jonathan Johnson, and Cody Barnes. Bang, they're off. XC2 Pro Class. Oh, a couple of riders with some trouble. Zach O's one of them. That's going to go to the 118. That is Mason Simmons out of Claremont, North Carolina on that Trail Jesters KTM, grabbing the whole shot and the early lead there. Here we go with the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. We're pushing the 222 maybe. And they're saying move him to the side, move him to the side. FMF XC3 125, there he goes. Finally gets her going. Drew Calloway, Toby Cleveland, Jay Snopp, Dylan Carano, Dakota DeVore, Sawyer Caratura. 10 seconds. Jonathan McMillan, Jack Walker, and Joe Shriver Buzz, buzz, the sound of our people. The FMFXC3, here they come, the 125s. 5, 4, 5. That is going to be Sawyer Karatura on that Low Jackson House of Speed. Steel City Men's Clinic backdrive with the whole shot and early lead. Here we go with the Open A class now. 10 seconds. Dylan T. De La Cruz, Ezra Prine, Cameron Madison, Zachary Davidson, Jeremy Wallstrom, Russell Smith, Hunter Bush. Around turn number 1, kicking up a little dust. Finally, some good conditions for these guys. That's going to be the 587. Grabbing the whole shot and early lead there in the Open A. 250A coming up next. Trevor Maley, Ranger Emmons, Tyler Palmer, Jason Tino, Nick Tafeo. 10 seconds. They got those flip-flopped on me. Flip-flopped them. This is Open A right here. That's what I thought. 318's going to grab it. That is Chase Colville. Lane Whitmer grabbing it on the previous class. Here we go. 4-stroke A lights. Ryan Piper, Caleb Baltimore, Colton Shields ready to roll. 10 seconds. Wade Tucker, Ty Ely, Matthew Hollenbeck, Randall Irvin, Eli Childers, Van Adams, Van Goslin, Joshua Connor, Caleb Hines, Nicholas Divertolo, Landon Harvin, Tyler Divertolo, and Peyton Feather. 4-3-4 with a good drive up the inside, and he's going to grab it. I think that was a 4-2-4 actually. Van Goslin. That's going to be the number on the helmet for scoring. 150A, ready to roll. 10 seconds. Tyler Shields, David Johnson, Braden Hoshman, and TP Thor Powell. That's the next one. This one's flip-flop too. Doggone it. That's going to be the 683. That's Gregory Funk. That's a Junior A 25 plus. Now we got our 150A class ready to roll. 10 seconds. Tyler Shields, David Johnson, Braden Hashman, and Thor Powell. Bang, we're off. TP right up the inside. Thor Powell trying to grab himself a whole shot to celebrate Dad's birthday. There you go, GP. Happy birthday. The 815 on the helmet, the 15 on the machine. There's your first birthday gift. Now can he bring it home for a win? Junior A 25 plus. 10 seconds. DJ Judd, if you're out there, I need a mic or batteries. I'm running low, running low. My paperwork is all kinds of backwards here, folks. I apologize. 10 seconds. This is Vet A right here. We're getting her sorted out slowly. Sorry about that, folks. That's going to be the 422 right there. Daniel Sims out of Greencastle, Indiana on that Dreyer Motorsports back ride. Seconds. Here we go. Our riders jockeying for position right here. It's a number 16 Husqvarna out in front. Let's see who's going to grab that whole shot right there. The 216. 216 will grab it. Ready to roll with our next row in 10 seconds. That's the number 200, grabbing that one right there out of the Open B class. That is Lane Morrison with that whole shot and early lead. Let's see if we're back on track. 250B is what I got next. We'll know when they come by. Ty Atkinson, Robert Wise, Rivers Morris, 10 seconds. Bancroft, Andrew Adams, Kevin Pequin, Dylan Kompowski, Jacob Forrest, Michael Meyer, Brandon Sylvester, Devin Moore, Lucas Rubenstein, Slayton Pettit, and Logan Pellegrini. 3-3-3, I think it's 3-5-9 on the helmet. May have been in the 3-6-9 of Kevin Pequin. Grabbing a whole shot and early lead there. There we go, blue flag waving. Ricky Towery's ready for you. 4-stroke B-lights in 10 seconds. All right, here they come up around turn number 1, coming into the whole shot area. That is the 718. 718 grabbing the whole shot right there. Blue flag waves. Our next row trying to get one push started. They're moving them to the side right here. Waiting on the signal. They're pushing them. And we're ready in 10 seconds. 718 Andrew Waldrop grabbing that last hole shot. That's going to be the 506 out in front. It's the 418 on the helmet, grabbing the whole shot and early lead there. As we reset, ready to roll, 10 seconds. Bang, and we're off. That's a senior B 40 plus right there. George Kleins with a good drive. And the 122 of George Kleins will take it. Larry Hopper out there as well as Josh Howard, Nicholas Wise. All battling for position. Blue flag waves. And we're ready to roll. 10 seconds. There we go, off and rolling. Still got one more rider trying to get their bike fired up. Here we go, the 524 able to get his fired up. A lot of time to make up right there. Look at this three-way battle right there into the whole shot. Too close to call, he goes wide. Ends up losing the lead right there, but he'll take the whole shot honors. How about that? Track sweep off and run, and apologize, my paperwork was a little backwards. I got a little cattywampus on that one, so sorry about that, folks. But nonetheless, we're off, we're rolling. I know scoring's got it dialed. We'll figure it out, get it all sorted out. Right now, though, we're going to take a commercial break. Lot at stake, championship on the line. Stu Baylor, Craig DeLong, Ben Kelly, they're all duking it out. We'll be right back after this.
family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency and my recovery.
GNCC Racing on Racer TV is brought to you by Progressive. You could save hundreds on your car insurance. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the 2023 Canati Tires Buckwheat 100. This is round number 11 of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series presented by Specialized. My name is Jackson Burl and I'm alongside Zach Karen and Johnny G to bring you today's action. Stay tuned as Zach's going to recap the start here in just a second.
Yeah, thanks, Jackson. We've already had a great day of racing so far. Our bike youth taking off this morning. Man, some great racing in that. Of course, we had the WXC just a little bit ago in the AM bike race, but now it is time. The green flag has flown, and we got 3 hours of racing getting ready to unfold. And we got a couple of championships up for grabs. Could close today. And then, of course, they're in that XC1 class. Stu Baylor, Craig DeLong, and I'm keeping Ben Kelly in the mix as well. Anybody's guess how this thing's going to wrap up. Getting a nice little Yamaha live drone shot, but I think we are going to take a look at how this race started out here with your Specialized start recap. Now, it's an uphill start, especially for the XC1 class. Not a ton of room and not a very long start. And if you'll notice, Stu Baylor, Craig DeLong, two very different sides. You'll see Stu Baylor way on the left-hand side of the screen, not getting the jump he needed. Craig DeLong said, let me take advantage of that. He's got that dog in him. Big Dog was barking too, as he is going to grab the whole shot in XC1. Ben Kelly was right there, but blew wide in turn number 2. I think he's about 3rd or 4th headed off into the woods. I think Ricky Russell's going to sneak around and follow Craig DeLong as they head into the woods. Now taking a look at the XC2 class. This is one of those classes where the title could be wrapped up today, but we'll see once again a great drive from the inside. Two riders almost coming together, and as they were coming down, it looks like that is going to be the 118 Simon Johnson grabbing the whole shot there in the XC2 class, and then a bunch of shuffling behind him as they head off into the woods. And then taking a look at that 125 XC3 class, one of my favorite sounding and smelling classes in the field. And you can see the two smokes smoking all the way into turn number 1. I believe that is Toby Cleveland. No, it is not. That is the 545 machine. Gonna grab the whole shot. We'll see if he's able to hang it on all the way into the woods. And it looks like, I don't know if that two-stroke needed to warm up a little bit or not. She was still puffing some smoke as they headed into the woods. But the 545 gonna hang on to that as they dip off into the woods. That is your Specialized start recap. Now, taking a look at your Monster Mile. That's one of those split lane spots. That's gonna be exciting to watch. but I believe we're going to get a track map pulled up here in just a second. There we go. That is your Yamaha Racing track map. We saw yesterday, you guys joined us, a lot of field section, makes it super fun for us. The drone gets up, we're able to see the different line choices, but this has been a fun one. Jackson, we've heard a lot. High speed in some sections, really tight in others. Going to make for some great racing today.
It sure is. A little bit on the dusty side, but almost perfect weather for them here today. A cool West Virginia day, so it should be some great racing here.
Absolutely. I will take a little chilly and dusty over the rain and the mud. I'm tired of it, and thankfully that all got out of the way at the EMTB race on Friday. So we've got dry racing in store for today, a nice little overcast sky, and it is going to make for a fantastic Buckwheat 100 here. Let me show you what the points are breaking down at. Awesome graph we've got here, courtesy of the Racer TV staff. This is how the points have shaken out throughout the years. Find your favorite rider on the side and follow their line all the way through. Up at the top, it's been Stu Baylor, Ben Kelly, and Craig DeLong. They've flip-flopped back and forth. They've been tied at some points, and now at the moment it is Stu Baylor just barely edging out with the lead over Craig DeLong. Ben Kelly, I believe, 16 points back in third. Still in this, as we know, anything can happen with about 6 hours of GNCC racing left to go in this season. We'll see how things wrap up today. Craig DeLong and Ben Kelly doing exactly what they needed to do, getting a good start to start off the Buckwheat 100. Stu Baylor's got his work cut out for him, but we know he's up for the task as well. As now we take a look, going to be waiting for your leaders to pop back on screen. I'm seeing the towel was waving, and there we go. There is your leader on screen. Craig DeLong on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna leads the way. Ricky Russell on the Ampro Yamaha sitting in second. There's Lane Michael in third. Behind him, that's Ryder Lafferty jumping up to the XC1 class, followed by Jordan Ashburn. There's the Grizzly Grant Baylor. Lyndon Snodgrass also jumping up. There's Josh Strang, Trevor Bollinger. There is Stu Baylor. And I believe that was Kelly. So it looks like Kelly's had some issues early after that start. He was about second or third headed into the woods and now finds himself just outside the top 5. And so a big group of XC1 riders all bunched up still right now. And we'll see how that shakes out as the race progresses.
Yeah, it's this is a racetrack. I think the word on the streets coming into this afternoon's 1 o'clock race, a very raceable track is what people are saying. You can push the pace. It's fast. It's flowy. There's not a whole lot of technical obstacles. The technical portion of the track is really just how slick the conditions are. Heard you guys talking about that quite a bit this morning in the morning race, saying, hey, normally when you talk about slick, you're thinking wet, but today it's a dry slick. It's completely different. Here comes your XC2 leaders coming through. Looked like it was Simon Johnson still up there out front, and right behind him, the 198 of Liam Draper, as you pointed out, looking to put the finishing touches on a masterful 2023 season here and bring home that XC2 championship for that Ampro Yamaha team. But yeah, I do think that the way we see these guys kind of running together in formation, normally at some point we'll see a break, a few riders break away, we start to see those gaps. I don't have a crystal ball, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see 4, 5, 6 guys keeping each other, maybe not wheel to wheel, but in sight of each other throughout much of the early part of the race. And if you think about it, we saw some of that yesterday in the ATV race as well.
Absolutely, and one of the things that we saw yesterday as well, some split line options. We're going to have more of those today. We saw the Monster Energy Mile. Those are really fun for us to watch because you're not just taking a different line through the same corner. There are 2 totally different options. An outside might start the section, but you pop out on the inside before it's all said and done. So really be interesting to watch the way these riders pick and choose their way throughout this Buckwheat course. There we saw Zach Osborne having some tough luck off the start, so Zacho's got his work cut out for him, but we know he's up for the task as well. But absolutely.
Looked like another rider a little further back just out of Zach, I believe was the 282 of Mike Witkowski. So he's a rider that we've seen up battling in a podium position throughout much of our last few races. Would have expected him to be a little further up. But again, we're still early here. We saw some riders fall back and able to make their way up yesterday, and we would expect the same today.
Absolutely, yeah. No, one of the riders we were talking about, Ben Kelly, he was about third headed into the woods. Curious to see what happened with him. There goes the 719 popping through as we take a look here at our FMF PowerPoint. And, man, this is, we talked about it, Craig DeLong. He's got his work cut out for him. He's just outside of the points lead, and we got an opportunity to find out what's going through Craig's head as he gets ready for this Buckwheat 100.
Kind of the same neck of woods, a little bit farther away, but I've been living in this area for the last 2 years or so, so I got a lot of friends and family coming out, and I'm excited.
I saw the bro somewhere, right?
He's around here somewhere. came to whip me in the shape for today. So, it's cool. We made it out, and yeah, should be good.
So, man, talk to us. Obviously, coming away from the last race, the one guy you needed to be in front of, if not a win, was Stu Baylor. That would have taken a win. I know you're like, hey, it was good to get second, but it's not good enough. I've got to come out swinging here today.
Yeah, it's pretty much, this is make it or break it, pretty much. I mean, I got one thing on my mind, and that's I got to win. I mean, whether he gets third or fourth, I need to win, and that's my only goal. And that's we're gonna try to make it happen for sure. We're not gonna be satisfied unless we're leading laps and out front. So that's the goal.
I have no doubt you can meet that challenge. We joked a little bit last race about you got to find that dog in you. I know it's in there, man. You're the kind of guy that, I think a lot of people, they look at it, okay, Stu and Craig, I say, okay, Stu is the guy that he'll put an elbow into you, he'll put a handlebar into you. Do you have that dog in you? Are you ready to answer to that? Are you ready to dish out some of your own?
Yeah, I'm going to need to, that's for sure. I had the opportunity at the last race, and I've been kind of regretting it ever since. Just something that kind of, it kind of irritates me a little bit, just one of those things. You kind of lay there awake at night, and it's like, man, I should have did that. But you live and you learn, and I learned my lesson. So we're, when we need to get aggressive, we're gonna try our best.
And Craig DeLong, we said he's got to get that dog in him. I think he was listening to Who Let the Dogs Out on the starting line or something, the way he came off of that starting line. And he did it. He said it right there. I need to win. Let me make the math as simple as possible. Everybody else can do their thing. I just need to be out front, and that's exactly what he's doing to start this thing off.
I think as this season's gone on, we've seen Craig really come into his own as far as his confidence. We've talked about it so many times on the show and during the races. He's a rider that kind of gets comfortable with things and then can repeat it over and over. He's not a flash in the pan. He doesn't come out and have that one win and then drop back outside the top 10. He's just a guy that takes baby steps, but once he takes those steps, he stays at that level. One thing I saw, and we talked about after the race, was he was a little perved off at things about after the race. Like, he was not happy with the way things went, even though he was right there on the rear wheel of Stu coming in, and I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder. I asked him about it yesterday. He talked about it in that interview a bit. And he said, I had an opportunity to make a run on Stu coming to the finish. He said, and I backed off, and I don't know why. He said, I think he felt there was going to be contact. He thought he was being respectful, but his big brother, Andrew, who's here with him this weekend, said, man, you got to run it in there. You got to race these guys. So here he is on screen, still leading the way, and these guys are all pretty much nose to tail at this point.
Well, and if he's trying to avoid contact, he's doing the right way by doing it right now. So let me get out front and try to get away. This monster mile, one of those split sections we were talking about, now looking like a majority of the field all funneling into one line. Ricky Russell, I still believe that was Lane Michael in second. Ryder Lafferty jumping up into the XC1 class. Good to see him sitting in that fifth place spot just behind Jordan Ashburn. And Stu Baylor, I'm not seeing him make a ton of moves forward there. There we saw a little bit of switch line action. I believe that was Bollinger actually making a pass on one of the FMF Red Bull KTM riders. I'm not sure if that was Ben or if that was Johnny. But
Johnny Gerard not out there on the track today. I don't believe it was really discussed, but I did see them putting his bike up on the tailgate. I don't know what the official word is. I know he's not injured. I heard he may have come down with a bug. Wasn't sleeping well last night, had some chills, maybe a little nausea, and they decided to park him for the day. I do know he did not start the race today.
And that's an interesting point you bring up. This is definitely, I would say, one of the chillier rounds that we've had here. Obviously, you're coming off of the summer break, but yeah, it's kind of been a theme we've heard a little bit, even on the ATV side. Some people not feeling 100%. They got a little bit of the creeping crud, if you will. And so whatever's going on with Johnny Gerard, we hope he gets to feeling better soon. But right now, there we go, looking like some of our XC2, and I believe we had a change for the lead.
Liam Draper taking away the lead, so no better way to cinch up that championship than just to go ahead and grab the top spot. Obviously, a lot of racing left, but, to put yourself up front, like we talked about with Craig DeLong, you want to avoid the contact, you want to avoid the if come what maybe that can happen, just get out front. Craig DeLong has done it. Liam Draper now has worked his way to there after starting about third or fourth. He was second in our first shot, and now he's in the lead, so looking like he's riding pretty comfortable today. We're obviously going to be keeping a very close eye on that to see if he can wrap up that championship, as well as our three-rider battle for that XC1 championship. And that, as it's shaping up, Craig DeLong getting the start. There he is still out front. And these guys all now pushing. Actually, it looks like Lane Michael has really put in a push there and gotten up to the rear wheel of Ricky Russell. So there's your top three on screen. The 342 of Craig DeLong out front. The 212 Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell in second, and the 523 Gas of Lane Michael in third. Man, look at how dusty it's getting in these fields already, guys. I mean, we talked about it. They're going to be running close together, but that means they're going to have to find their way through the dust and miss those big hay bales, because you hit one of those round bales and you might as well hit a parked semi.
Yeah, those things are not moving. They're going to win the battle every time. And there we see one of the tighter sections. We see some high speed, but then some really tight, slower speed sections as they get ready to head through the pit road. It looks like several of them grabbing some hydration and working their way through the pit area. Craig DeLong looking good out front right now. We talked about him doing exactly what he needs to do. You want to talk about the flip side of it, though, your points leader, Stu Baylor. A little bit of a gamble, I feel like, on that starting position, going way outside. It pretty much all came down to that first 5 feet. If he got the jump, there was a chance. Didn't quite get what he was looking for, and now he's got his work cut out for him.
And if you watch that start replay that you had there just a few minutes ago, he actually got to the first turn in about 3rd place or so, and then whoever was on the inside of him looked like they hit an edge, had to stand the bike up, and when they did, they knocked Stu wide. Not intentional, but he got pushed wide, and 5, 6, 8 guys tucked by on the inside. But, you know, he did see him make a pass there in the split line just a moment ago, looking like he worked his way around Trevor Bollinger, and Ben Kelly did not. So those guys were going to be following their progress up through the pack, and also keeping an eye on Craig DeLong out front. And you know, just because we're talking about these 3 guys for the championship doesn't mean that any one of them or anyone else may not be the one to win this race today. All these guys are capable. I mean, it's been a historic season. So many race winners this year. It's something we've never seen before in GNCC.
And I'm so glad you bring that point up, because I was just about to say there's a lot of different roles going on right now. Ben Kelly, Craig DeLong, Stu Baylor, they're in the championship battle role, right? They're going to push as hard as they can, but they're thinking big picture ultimately. If you're somebody like Ricky Russell, somebody like Lane Michael, you're what I like to call the dark horse position. You get to play a little bit of spoiler. These guys are trying to put a high note to end their season, and they're doing a great job. You see how hard both the Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell and Lane Michael are pushing right now, and they're both looking to try to prove something at the end of this 2023 season.
And every time we come to this area, obviously we're a little bit south of Morgantown, we talk about the local flair here. We've got so many guys that either are from here or have transplanted here. Liam Draper lives close to here. Craig DeLong now lives close to here. Lane Michael originally from here. And one thing I will point out, you know, this is the Canati Buckwheat this weekend, but over the course of time, this has been known as CJ Raceway. And there's a number of local series that have raced here dating back through series that don't even race anymore, have gone out of business, new series took over. And this place is raced 2-3 times a year with regional series. And I would venture to guess that of these XC1 and XC2 guys, no one has raced here as much as Lane Michael. This is, I mean, he's raced here back on probably 65s, maybe even PWs, but definitely as a, you know, super mini rider, as an amateur rider, and as a pro rider, he has raced here a lot back in the Paul Kuntz series, all the, you know, different series that have raced here over the year. Here we see our leader, Craig DeLong, starting to gap out just a little bit over Ricky Russell and Lane Michael. There is Jordan Ashburn there. Ryder Lafferty hanging tough in his first run in that XC1 class, and there you see Stu Baylor really starting to make some moves now. He has really gotten around quite a few guys, and Ben Kelly still back there trying to work on one position at a time. So Stu's on the move.
Absolutely, yeah. Saw Ryder Lafferty, and I believe that was Lyndon Snodgrass, another one moving up to the XC1 class, having a solid performance on that Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki as well. It looked like a Monster Energy Cowie freight train there. That was all 3 of them coming through, both the Grizzly and Josh Strang just behind him. And speaking of Josh Strang, we talked about the dust earlier. I remember him saying earlier in the season, I'll take mud over dust any day. You can pull a roll off. You can kind of see through the mud. When you're going wide open through the dust, it is terrifying. And if you want to be at the top level of this field, you got to be willing to risk it.
Yep. And that's this is the type of dust, you know, yes, we mentioned about, you know, potentially connecting with one of those round bales, which we hope no one does today, not even just our top riders, anybody out there at all. Here is your XC2 leader, Liam Draper, in that second spot. Simon Johnson on the 118 machine, still hanging strong, and I couldn't tell who those other 2 were. There is one of, that's 99, the Cody Barnes. Yep. So there's one of your Phoenix Honda riders. But, you know, it's not the kind of dust where it really, really spreads guys out. In the fields, yes, there's some dust kicking up. You may not see some square edge stuff on the ground, but it's not the kind of blinding dust that we've seen like at Mason-Dixon and some of our other tracks. It is a factor, though. You know, like you said, Josh Strang, those other guys, they're going to have to push their limits a little bit if they want to stay in touch with the lead group for sure.
And Josh Strang, I noticed, not sure whether he had issues getting the bike fired up right off the start, but it took him a minute to get going, but he has worked his way into the middle of the pack there, and so good to see Strang having a good rebound. I know he's also trying to end this season on a high note since he's still got stuff to prove.
Yeah, absolutely, and Josh is one of those guys, I mean, he is a multi-time race winner. He's a former series champion. He has the pedigree, he has the knowledge, and he still has the speed. It's just been a year for him where it seemed like he just couldn't get the momentum going. When he finally would, it seems like things would go wrong. You know, you don't want to necessarily call it luck. Here's your leaders on screen now at the 11-mile marker. Craig DeLong looking comfortable. Ricky Russell looking content to follow for the moment. And Lane Michael really pushing the pace, hanging on there. Look at this. Stu Baylor's made another pass now and is now all the way up to the number 4 spot. So he has gotten around both Ashburn and Snodgrass. He is on the move.
No, that was Ryder Lafferty.
Oh.
Lafferty had made the pass back.
The shoey helmet threw me off. And look at this. Now Ben Kelly is right up behind Stu. So Stu actually worked his way backwards from that last camera shot. Yeah, there you go, folks. I do call it wrong from time to time. Trevor Bollinger losing a couple spots there. And we do need to give a shout-out. Evan Smith, another rider. We saw him running up solidly there in a top position last race in that XC1 class. He's there again today, talking about riding the big girl. You know, the Beta Machine 430 RR. And he's out there again and right in the thick of things, battling with the top XC1 pilot. So proving he belongs there in that XC1 class.
Absolutely. Now, we've seen the dust, obviously, in some of these open field sections as we take a look at the Yamaha live drone. But there in that last shot, you still saw some of the dark soil, some moisture still there in the woods. You touched on it earlier, Johnny. The track seems very raceable, and it's made for some exciting stuff all day yesterday and even this morning.
Yeah, it's as you see them working their way by here, all this stuff is so hard-packed there. Trying to find their grip, trying to find just how hard they can push, how far they can lay it over, how deep they can drive it into these corners. And it's easier when you got somebody in front of you, but when you start having those gaps open up, you know, you got to pick the line, you got to kind of pick your breaking points, and that's where we're going to start to see things start to straighten themselves out, I believe, here in the next couple laps.
I tell you what I just noticed right there in that shot was Ryder Lafferty. Not only did he get back around your reigning champion Jordan Ashburn, he has put some distance between himself and those 2 riders behind him. He's trying to catch up to that front battle and lock into those top 3. So good things out of the number 10.
Yeah, and this is, you know, his first ever race in XC1. He started off the season very hot in XC2, was a championship contender, was right there. And, you know, as he was talking about in pre-race interviews with Mikey, for those that were listening, you know, the season just kind of went sideways, got away from him. But he said, I'm healthy. You know, I'm here. I want to see where I rack and, you know, stack up in this XC1 class. And so far, he's proven to be a contender right off the rip. Here's your top 3. Is still the same running order. Craig DeLong out front, Ricky Russell in second. Lane Michael starting to look like he's going to make a push, taking the inside line, not able to make it stick, but getting right next to Ricky Russell there. Will he square him up and try the inside here? Yes, but just not quite enough. Trying again. He is not giving up. He wants that spot from the 212 Ampro Yamaha rider.
And man, I like him. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Michael, not following anywhere as they get ready to head through the finish line for the first time. It is Craig DeLong leading the way with Ricky Russell in second, and he's got a rearview mirror full of Lane Michael at the moment. Johnny, you know, this is where Jackson and I have sat for most of the day today, and yesterday it blew my mind when I really walked over the amount of rocks, whether you're talking about pebble size all the way up to big boulders, not only on top of the soil, but stuck in the rocks. We saw tons of riders tucking the front end, running into a rock that they think is going to move, and it's locked in there. The rock's going to be very challenging here today as well.
Yeah, you know, there's we talked about it in some of the open sections. There is some of those rocks have been brought up. Some of this, you've got the agriculture and also the farm use, so you've got cattle and all kinds of stuff running this. But when you get into the woods, it's really complicated because, you know, a line that's good one lap, the rock moves around so much here, and that the soil quality, to be kind to West Virginia, is poor at best. So it kind of just it's really rock on top of like a loose. I wouldn't even call it soil. It's almost like a slag. So it's very unpredictable conditions. There's your XC2 leader on screen and still hanging tough. Shout out to Simon Johnson on that Trail Jesters KTM. I'm assuming Trail Jesters. I know he had departed the GNCC series earlier this year and back maybe just for a one-off type visit, but looking like he has all the same sponsors, and we'll have to get the official word on that. But definitely on a KTM machine there on the 118. Looked like a couple of his teammates behind him there as well from that Trail Jesters KTM team.
Yeah, what a way to make a comeback, grabbing that whole shot. I know I had to do the Johnny G check. I had to look over and be like, I am not sure I'm familiar with that, and so excited to see him back out and doing well as well.
Yeah, he was the reigning champion in the J-Day series, went and contested that year. I believe lost his support, or the support system changed a little bit. Was riding a different machine there in the J-Day series, was actually on a Yamaha. So good to see him back here at the GNCC, no matter what bike he's on. Awesome to see guys come back, and man, running solid here today. This one of the better runs we've ever seen out of him. Still early, but he's looking like he has the stuff to go with Liam Draper, and everybody else starting to lose a bit of time.
So taking a look on screen, you're seeing Craig DeLong out front with Ricky Russell and Lane Michael running 2 and 3. There is Liam Draper shown in the 4th place spot with Mason Simmons 5th, then Ryder Lafferty, Riordan. Uh-oh, it sounds like Jackson's got so he's correcting us here.
Yeah, that's going to be Mason Simmons on the 118 KGM getting up there. He's right behind Liam Draper.
That's what you get when you look at the actual numbers on the sheet there. Simon Johnson was the 118 machine last year on that Trail Jesters KTM. Shout out to Mason Simmons. My apologies. The rider who was been a part of that Trail Jesters KTM team all year. So my apologies to the folks listening at home. The Trail Jesters team and Mason up there putting pressure on Liam Draper after getting that whole shot. So Simon Johnson, if you're at home watching, gave you a little credit, but maybe you'll come back and do some GNCC racing with us in the future.
Exactly.
And then from now on, I'm doing the Jackson look over instead of the Johnny G. He'll look at the paper for me. So,
the best part of that was the look on Jackson's face when he said, I'm pretty sure the 118 is Mason Simmons, and it clicked in my head at that moment that I had transported back in time to 2022, and yes, he was correct, and I was mistaken.
Breaking news, folks. Johnny G is human.
Second time today, I identified Ryder Lafferty as Stu Baylor early in the race. So to my the 118, there's no excuse for that. But our monitor's a little off today. We gotta acknowledge that. So the Ryder Lafferty thing may have been legit, but no, total oversight on my part, and great catch, Jackson.
Lane Michael really putting the pace on here on Ricky Russell.
And that's something that we saw yesterday. You talk about, we saw Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart, and Cole Richardson. Cole and Hunter were locked into a battle. They had the intensity. Johnny, you're pointing something out on screen.
Ryder's push pace, no, you didn't miss it, but you pointed out in the last shot, he's actually made up the gap. He's almost to the rear wheel of Lane Michael now, so he's really putting the steam on, and he has ridden away from Jordan Ashburn, who was there, the reigning champion, #1.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the number 10's able to do. Like you said earlier, John, I mean, came out swinging early in the season, had some issues, some unfortunate luck, and I think he's got a big chip on his shoulder, to be honest with you. Great shot here on the Yamaha Live Drone. There you go, see, creeping just into the shot. That is the number 10 of Ryder Lafferty. But, man, I am watching not Mason Simmons. Now I'm scared I'm not going to call.
We're going to give him all kinds of credit
Absolutely.
the rest of the show.
And wow, you see how tight Ricky?
Yeah. He knows.
Right there.
Ricky's gotten to the point where he's having to ride defensive because Lane Michael is putting so much pressure on. He wants that spot. Ricky can't really be on the attack because he's having to protect his lines. Look at this. Lane got a really good run here, and there's a lot of ins and outs he can run here. He's going to swing wide, tries to go around the outside. Man, these two are really pushing it right now.
And they are pushing right up to the back. Whoa.
That is an interesting line.
All right,
worked out the same.
I was about to say, well, what I was just getting at was you see some of them ducking over just to where the grass starts, trying to grab a little more moisture. It seems like every time they grab a big handful, as you see Craig DeLong powdering over Ricky Russell and Lane Michael, it seems like if they're able to ride just on the edge of that main line, there's a little more traction where the grass is still at.
Yeah, and it was hard to tell from that camera angle, but that is a big bowl where Ricky went up on the side. So presumably trying to use the G-force to hold himself in and be able to stay on the throttle. So an interesting line, and keep in mind, these guys do have 25 feet either way of the mark course. So definitely can go wider. It's just a matter of keeping it within that 25 feet.
Absolutely. Would love to know what was going through the helmet of Lane Michael in that one as he went up wide on that running her on the outskirts, NASCAR style, just keeping the momentum up.
That's right.
And that'll be exciting to watch for sure. And we saw that, though. Lane, he wasn't following. He was going anywhere that Ricky Russell was not. And taking a look now back on screen. Not quite sure who that was right there. I don't believe that was your lead group.
No, it looked to be one of the Monster Cowie riders, judging by the gear. So I think we're a little further back in the shot there. But keep in mind, all these guys are close. I mean, look at the time gaps on screen. They're so close. And we do see, as we check in, Liam Draper up into the 4th place spot in the overall. So our XC2 guys on the gas. Mason Simmons on the 118. Trail Jesters KTM there in second. 2.5 seconds back, running in the 5th place spot in the overall after time correction. We're waiting here at the 4-mile marker, waiting on our leaders at the FMF PowerPoint. And we're expecting to see more of the same. Craig DeLong has led this thing virtually from the movement of Ricky Towery's flag. A super quick jump. I mean, absolutely just a rocket off the line, and he's led this thing the entirety so far.
Absolutely, yeah. We've been super excited to see those top 3 going to work, but we've been touching on Ryder Lafferty, and we figured we'd catch up with your XC1 debutee, Ryder Lafferty, see what he's got to say.
I feel like I'm back to normal, that midway through the season we had a bunch of stuff that just wasn't going our way, and even even here after summer break, we had some unfortunate stuff happen, but my health is all good, so that's a big hit. That was the thing that was holding me back in the midway through the season. So took all summer break to get back, and I feel like I'm back to how I was, around Florida time. Got different backgrounds on my bike this weekend, going to switch it up and race with the XC1 guys, but yeah, I'm excited. It's just the last 2 races, go out there and go mix it up, and looking forward to it. Not really at this point. I definitely want to mix it up with them, and learn as much as I can. But I'd like to make some passes, get a good start is the goal, and make some passes and log all the laps. For me, that's I think that's a good starting point.
Well, I'm telling you what, Ryder Lafferty learning right now how to get it done in the XC1 as he's trying to track down that top 3 breakaway group. There is your leader on screen, Craig DeLong, still handling business. And
that's the biggest gap he's had all day.
Yep, absolutely. Ricky Russell, though, cannot seem to shake Lane Michael at the moment.
And look at that.
Yep, absolutely. He's got him in sight now. And it looks like he's bringing the reigning champ along with him. Jordan Ashburn not letting him sneak off. I believe this is Snodgrass, the first of the Kawasaki's. There is Strang, and there is Stu Baylor starting to work his way through. There is Grizzly Grant Baylor, Ben Kelly, and Evan Smith checking in. So they're starting to, there's Bollinger as well. They're starting to separate a little bit. Those top 3 have gotten away, but it seems like 4th and 5th starting to reel them back in.
And that's kind of what happens, when Craig DeLong is putting down the heat that he is up front, it's going to start to stretch things out. But then if they can close those gaps up, and if you're Craig DeLong, you just can't go on the attack for 3 hours. If he can't shake these guys, he's got to settle into a pace, that he can run it. And maybe he is running a pace that he can run for 180 minutes. There you see your leader. He has now shaken the 118 of Mason Simmons. He is all alone by himself out front. There is Simmons in second, and I'm guessing probably Angus Riordan. If we look at our running order, yes, he was there in 7th place. Another one of those Trail Jesters KTM riders. Very much in the championship fight throughout much of the season so far. There is one of the Phoenix Hondas.
I believe that was Cody Barnes there. And then
the 922 of Grant Davis, another one of those Trail Jesters KTM riders. So 3 Trail Jesters KTM riders in the top 5 there in that XC2 class.
And something you touched on earlier, Johnny, now not necessarily in this section, but especially in the fields, a lot of off-camber turns, a lot more elevation change than what the cameras are showing. They always say the camera doesn't do it justice. The bumps are bigger, the rocks are bigger, and the hillside's very difficult. You're seeing a lot of times riders grabbing a big handful, the back end steps out, not only with the dry, slick conditions, but with those off-cambers and the rocks on top, throttle control going to be key throughout this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we talked about, a lot of races have been run here over the years, and although they do come in with equipment and, nature does repair itself over time, there is still, the ground is chewed up. There's a lot of square edges like we talked about, especially when it's dry like this. The last couple times that we raced here, there was a lot of moisture in the ground, so that's going to leave the ruts and the square edges, braking bumps, all that. Even when they go in and fix most of it, there's always going to be a little residual marks of what has happened here over the years.
And it looks like we got a nice little replay of Ricky Russell doing his thing on the AmPro Yamaha, the 212. He is, you can tell he's fired up. Like we said, he's kind of in that dark horse position and searching for anything he can do. Look, leaving the gas on, outsides the insides, trying to straighten out those corners as much as possible. And he is working hard to try to get around the Rockstar Husky of Craig DeLong.
Sometimes you got to think outside the box, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So Ricky leads them in. Craig DeLong leads them around. We're going to get a word from our sponsors.
Canati Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day with Racer X.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Canati Tires Buckwheat 100. It is Craig DeLong leading the way on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, getting a glimpse there at the Rockstar Energy pits. Looks like everybody's out and about. They're all trying to figure out the way to help their riders. Both Craig and Trevor Bollinger out there as well. And we talked about it earlier as Mikey Waynes joins us here in the truck. Craig DeLong made it very easy. He said, I'm not saying that he's not good at math, but he said, let me make it as good, as easy as I can on myself. I need to go win. He's putting himself in the right spot to do that.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And, Johnny, he could have spoke to this, but his brother's out here this weekend, Andrew DeLong, who is no slouch in the XC1 days, and just some added motivation. You got some family here as well. So, that does something for you. We always talk about at national level, winning any race is awesome when you can do it at a national level in front of maybe some hometown fans, if nothing else, hometown family. Is just that added motivation for you. So Craig DeLong, he's pulling out all the stops. We're going to take a look at that, the points breakdown for you guys. And Stu Baylor, obviously the man coming into today with the advantage, but Craig DeLong's there. Ben Kelly, realistically, is there. He's in the same boat as Craig. It's like, hey, go win.
Absolutely.
Let the chips fall where they may.
Yep, so just about 5 points separating first and second, and then 16 back to Ben Kelly. Jordan Ashburn having a solid, I would say, second half of the year. He's been consistently in good spots. He got a win there early in the season, but he's kind of been sneaking under our radar a little bit. I don't feel like we've talked about Jordan as much as we should have. He finds himself inside the top 5 and a solid ride on that Magnum 1 Husqvarna. Grant Baylor rounding out the top 5 in points with Ricky Russell, Johnny Gerard sitting in 7th, Josh Strang, and then Angus Riordan and Liam Draper jumping up into that top 10 in the overall point standings.
When you look at it, like the points, you think, well, Ricky Russell, his season, all right, 6, that's not bad. Ricky Russell's been that rider that's like feast or famine. He's the guy, I think, at this point in the season, you sort of circle as almost that he could play spoiler very easily. It's been basically, hey, I'm getting on the podium, I'm going to grab a win, or I'm going to be outside of the top 10. So if today's one of those days where Ricky Russell, we see the good Ricky Russells here today, he could throw a wrench in the gears because, as it looks right now, hey, you're loving life if you're Craig DeLong, but you've got a long road to hoe here in front of you. And then, Stu Baylor, don't count the man out. I know he's way back there right now, but every single time we've ever said, well, he's settled it. No, he's not. The diesel's getting warmed up, and it's a little cold today.
Absolutely. It almost seems like if Stu gets a bad start, he gets a little more fired up.
Yes.
Something about working through the pack that gets him going. But as we see, it looks like our leader's getting ready to pop into this monster mile split section. We saw this a big spot yesterday as far as the four-wheeler sides of the thing goes. Line selection being crucial. We saw a pass, I believe, for the lead made here in this section yesterday. Now Craig making it easy, not letting anybody get close enough to get near him. And he has continued to open that gap up. And I'm telling you what, Lane Michael not letting go of Ricky Russell, and he's bringing along Ryder Lafferty with him. We talked about it a little bit, making the XC1 debut. Your reigning champ, Jordan Ashburn, just behind him. And then there is Stu Baylor. So Stu gotten around Lyndon Snodgrass on the Kawasaki, Stu on that Rocky Mountain ATV, MC Teely Energy KTM, and that is your points leader. So he knows exactly what he's got to do. He's got to chase down those top riders. He knows his main competition is out front right now.
One rider going down there right in the Monster Mile. I believe that might have been. That was Ben Kelly, I do believe.
So not what you're hoping for the 530 of Ben Kelly. Had another one where he kind of came into the season with some question marks. I think it's so easy to forget. He was coming off of a pretty significant leg injury, as now we see your XC2 points leader and leader on track, Liam Draper. And Ben, he's had some really solid performances, but once again, it's just when things go bad, they seem to go really bad. And it's had some tough luck, and he's even said himself, he's just had some things. Sometimes it's him, sometimes it's not, but whatever it is, not making excuses, knows what he needs to do, and is going to keep fighting all the way to the end.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we had a guy yesterday that made well, not a huge mistake, but a huge mechanical, and he still came out as a national champ. Things happen out there. As a matter of fact, I saw some comments about it, pumping up Walker Fowler maybe a little too much after the win, but it's like, you know what? There's two sides of that. You look at Walker Fowler, who's got all those wins, one shy of the all-time. He can probably go back in time and circle some that, hey, I inherited. Caleb Russell can circle some, hey, I inherited this. I wasn't the best guy that day, but I was there when it mattered.
I saw one of those comments as well. I think to sum it up perfectly, to finish first, you must first finish.
First finish, that's right. So, I mean, that's racing.
Absolutely. Now, it looks like, something's happened. Is that Lafferty or is that Michael still there in third?
I don't think that is Michael.
So it sounds like something may have happened to Lane Michael. He was hot on the heels of Ricky Russell pretty much since the start of this thing. We will wait to see whether or not that is the 10 of Ryder Lafferty now in the third place spot.
See if we can get a
trying to zoom in a little bit on that. The dust definitely not making it easy for us.
Okay, here
we'll get a better idea here. There is Craig DeLong grabbing some hydration. Calm, cool, and collected, reaching over, grab the water. Looks like Ricky has already gotten him some as well.
That is Ryder Lafferty.
And that is Ryder Lafferty. Look at that, moving into a podium spot at the moment here in his XC1 debut. There's Jordan Ashburn now in fourth, so something has happened. Stu Baylor now comes around. Lyndon Snodgrass, something has happened to Lane Michael, and that is tough luck. He was looking really good, fighting hard with the Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell.
Man, another tough break for Lane Michael on that one. Hopefully he's all right. Still have not seen him go through.
So we will wait to try to maybe get a word, try to find out exactly what was going on there with that. There's Ben Kelly now coming through. He's got Trevor Bollinger just behind him. And you see how wide some of those guys going. I mean, Trevor Bollinger almost making contact with the fence as he came around, trying to stay, is find traction. That's what it comes down to, is finding traction. You see Liam Draper there. And you can tell those guys aren't necessarily wide open through the corner. They're keeping it around, keeping the throttle on, nice and steady. As now Mason Simmons comes through. Looks like that might have been Riordan just behind him as well. So a big shakeup there in the top three. But I'm telling you what, somebody who's not worried about it is the number 10. Ryder Lafferty says, well, yeah, I said I wanted to learn some things. Let me learn what it's like to run in a podium spot in XC1. And there is Cody Barnes on that Phoenix Racing Honda machine. Then I believe that was the 922 also on that Trail Gestures KTM coming through as well. So Craig DeLong making it happen out front still. He's got Ricky Russell just behind him. And that's going to be, I'm going to be interested to see how Ricky responds now. He was dealing, even Johnny said, the guy's riding defensive now because he had Lane Michael going everywhere that he wasn't. Now Ricky's been able to shake that a little bit. He's got a little bit of distance between himself and Ryder Lafferty. So now he can go back on the offensive and try to track down the Rockstar Husky.
Yeah, got to get him in the crosshairs, make something happen, get in the fight with him. And, yeah, to your point, we still did not see Lane Michael go through the pits. We didn't miss him, did we, through there? No?
I haven't seen him.
I don't think so.
Yeah, they're in that camera shot. I didn't see him come through. So hopefully, like you said, he's okay. I'm not sure whether it was a machine. I mean, we saw it yesterday. Some people, they think they have everything, and then all of a sudden it's like the trees jump out in front of them, tag a tree or something. But Craig DeLong looking good, looking very in control right now at the moment. He doesn't look like he's riding over his head, nor does Ricky Russell. Ryder Lafferty really starting to track down the AmPro Yamaha. He is not just wanting to sit around in the third place spot. He wants to get in the mix here in this podium.
Love it for Ryder. You know, we saw the interview with him. He started the season out so hot. There goes the 514. The diesel's warming up, boys. Yep. Stu Baylor's on his way. That was 178, wasn't it? That was Lyndon Snodgrass right there.
Just in front of his teammate Josh Strang there on the Babbitts Kawasaki. And why not throw the other Babbitts Kawasaki in there? There's Grizzly Grant Baylor behind him. Evan Smith. Just off the back of that, I mean, that's a freight train of riders.
Those Cowie boys stay that close. That's going to be a wild pit stop to watch. There's no doubt. 3 guys in the XC1 here today. Love to see it. There goes the 530 of Ben Kelly, followed by Trevor Bollinger. Mile marker number 11. We're under 5 minutes here, I think. Should be getting another lap completed. 2 laps complete. Of course, that counts that little baby lap first. But
problems for Liam Draper. Goes a little wide as he heads up the hill. Takes a look over his shoulders, makes sure he's still got a comfortable lead. Going to lose just a little bit of time there, but still going to hang on to that XC2 lead for the moment. And as we are about a third through this race, if you're the 530 of Ben Kelly, you're not hitting the panic button yet, but you gotta get warmed up. If that's the diesel, you got to get her warmed up right now, because he has got to start picking his way through this XC1 field if he wants to keep his championships hopes alive.
Yeah, you talked with in the pre-race Monster Energy pre-race report with Ben Kelly, and he was feeling good. He said it's been a season, it's some ups and downs, more downs than he'd necessarily like. But I said you got to feel good about the fact that you have had those ups and downs. You're not clicking off wins like crazy, but you're statistically, mathematically, you're still in it. There's still a shot for you as long as some things go right for you. And it sounds like we are getting word now, Lane Michael back into the pits for the 523 gas ride.
So tough break. There we see one of the wet sections on course. I believe that might be the first time I've seen that on camera. And so we've seen plenty of dust, but there's some water on track as well. So these riders getting the best of both worlds. A little bit of mud, a little bit of dust. And these open field sections, really fun for us to watch. I enjoy the high-speed stuff. It's impressive to watch the way these guys set each other up in the corners, going back and forth. And right now it is Ricky Russell trying to track down the Rockstar Husky. You can see in the body language, he's picking the front end up. He's charging hard into the corners. And there it is. Look at that. Look at how much time he made up right there. Like I said, Ricky Russell back on the offensive on the AmPro Yamaha. Hugging tight on that 180, trying to stay out of the main line. Seems like every time he really goes to get on the gas, the back end just steps out. That dry, hard-packed West Virginia soil, making it really tough to make up time. We saw some big fireworks in this corner yesterday in the ATV side of things. And it's getting down to championship time. It's getting down to big picture. So we're going to start to see the passes have to be made. Whether they got to make grown man moves, as you like to say, or whether it comes easy at this point in the season. You got to do what you've got to do. There's a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of sponsors on the line. Tough break there for Lane Michael as we see he is in the pits. Hopefully he's okay.
Pop is smiling right there.
Looks like he's trying to raise an arm or shoulder. Yep.
Tough break for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you hate to see it, and it just seems like it continues to happen to the guy too, which is really unfortunate.
He's definitely got the speed. It just seems like that's kind of the not talked about factor when it comes to racing. You got to have a little bit of luck. I mean, there is an element of you make your own luck, but at the same time, it just seems like sometimes the stars don't align for certain riders.
That's right.
And, tough break for the 523 machine. So waiting for your leader to pop out of the beautiful West Virginia foliage. It's sweater weather, as you've been saying all weekend. And the leaves are starting to change colors. There he is. Ooh, getting a big kick on that back end there. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a whole nother part to the hard packed element. As these riders continue to beat down on this hard packed soil, you're going to start to get those square edge bumps where they don't just throw you forward. They'll throw your entire back end off to the side. Ooh, Craig getting a little wide there, pushing through.
Ricky following the same line.
Absolutely. These guys searching for traction each and every spot of the track. I know that corner they're going through right there, the ruts are completely filled with marbles, basically. It's like you dumped a bag of marbles in there. The rock's getting chewed up. And so traction going to be difficult. You can see that one big rock as Ricky made his way through.
Ryder Lafferty closing in on Ricky Russell here.
Be curious to see the strategy for Lafferty. I mean, I'm assuming this has got to be go for it, man. I mean, no pressure, have fun, do what you can do. Now we're seeing Stu Baylor come through. Looks like he reached up, grabbing the hydration hose there. And he's actually getting a little bit of heat back from the 178 of Lyndon Snodgrass. So Snodgrass was the reigning champ in XC2. Hasn't had quite the year there in the XC2 that he was looking for. Took a break from racing and has rejoined us here in the XC1 class and has made a statement in his comeback.
Yeah, certainly riding well. Jordan Ashburn checked in just in front of Stu, and then Strang. So it's Baylor, then Snodgrass, Strang, and then Grant Baylor. Those Cowie rides 1, 2, and 3 out there right behind each other. Outside of that, hey, how about I saw Evan Smith on there. Evan Smith still hanging with the boys today, the 347 Beta machine.
On the big girl.
And on the big girl, that's right. And then Lane Michael, we had him, I guess. He is back in the pit, so he's going to relinquish that. Go ahead.
We may have a pass in XC2. Double check me on the scoring, but it looks like one of the KTMs, that might be Riordan, actually making the pass around Liam Draper, and I think he had to get around Simmons as well. So watch out for Gus Riordan looking fiery here in XC2.
Yeah, he moves up into the 1 spot. Draper just behind him, and Simmons just behind him. 1, 2, and 3. Grant Davis back there in the 4 position. He has no scratch at. That's Cody Barnes. Cody Barnes gets around Grant Davis into the 4 position. Davis now in 5th.
So some shakeups at the front of our XC2 field, and that was something that Johnny touched on earlier, Jackson. You know, Liam Draper, he's got the potential to clinch the title today. Even if he doesn't, he's thinking big picture. He's not probably going to be willing to risk it as much. He doesn't need to. Whereas if you're somebody like Gus Riordan, had some great races. I know he got a big win. I remember the Shoey. I can't forget it. Yeah, absolutely. When he grabbed that win earlier in the season, but he's also had some poor races. So really trying to show that he's still got it and feeling good here in the final couple of races in this 2023 Progressive GNCC Series.
You know, Zach, even if you're not in the championship like we've talked about all day, you want to be there for these last few rounds. Headed into 2024, you want to get that confidence up. You want to get a few wins under your belt headed into the next season.
Absolutely. I feel like there's 2 big races that you want to leave on a high note. The one going into summer break and the finale of the season, because you're only as good as your last race. And so even if it's snowshoe before summer break, if you come out with a win at snowshoe for 3 months, you're riding on that high. You're feeling good. Same thing at the end of the season. You close, even if you don't win the championship, you're able to keep the moral up, you know, keep the morale up, keep them excited. But Ricky Russell trying to do just that. I don't think he's feeling good about this silver medal spot. I don't know if he's feeling the heat off of Ryder Lafferty or what, but they have started to tighten up here in the top 3. Craig DeLong going to be getting some company here soon. The Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell pushing hard, and he's bringing along the Coastal Racing Gas of Ryder Lafferty in 3rd.
All right, I'm loving watching Ryder Lafferty right now, just moving up from that XC2. It's always the unknown, the big question mark on Pro Row, like how will they do? The big question now is, can he hang with we know he can hang for 3 hours. I mean, he's an incredible rider. That's not in question, but can he hang at the top level with the XC1 for 3 hours with these guys? So far, so good. An hour and 6 minutes into it. There's Craig DeLong doing his thing out in front. He got that dog in him. Rough and Rowdy behind him, and the young whippersnapper, Ryder Lafferty, there in the 3 spot. There is Jordan Ashburn. Jordan trying to close in on him a little bit. He was 7 seconds back when he checked in. Looks like he's chipped away at that a little bit.
You got the young dog and the wily vet going at it there for that final spot on the podium. And Jordan, another one that I'm sure would love to switch the momentum here in these final couple rounds, get back up on the box and show what our reigning champ is still capable of doing. But I'm telling you what, I thought it was going to be Ricky Russell making a move on Craig, but I think Ryder Lafferty might catch up to the back of the Yamaha before. And once again, you see Ricky having to kind of switch it up. He's protecting those insides, going on the defensive, not able to push as hard as he wants. Ryder Lafferty, the man on the move at the moment.
Ricky's done a great job defending those gases off.
And he's not gotten a break from it. He got a break, got away from Lane Michael, you know, whatever happened there in that situation. And so Ricky, like you were saying, Zach, oh, finally he can go up and get Craig DeLong. Well, and not so fast. Ryder Lafferty now wants a piece of it too.
And you can see through that section right there, they're going at a high rate of speed in that corner, and they're having to battle through the dust as well. A lot of big ruts, and you're coming into that corner completely blind. Ricky, you know, hugging just outside of that main line, keeping within the 25, trying to make sure he's able to find some clean real estate compensate not only for breathing, but I mean, he's trying to see where he's going as well. And seems to have a nice little line figured out there. Doesn't seem to add or take away any time.
Yeah.
Just a little bit different line there for the 2-1-2.
How about the different elements today, the different weather? We've only really had this, I guess, Florida, but really a duster. We've not had that since the Mason-Dixon, which, by the way, the man who won the Mason-Dixon was named Craig DeLong. He also won it down in Georgia, which was an absolute mutter. So, he can do either element, but, if we look back at the way it's gone this year, it has benefited Craig DeLong in these kind of conditions.
And I'm telling you what, Craig, you could tell he was fired up. He came off of that start like an absolute rocket. And there's a lot of guys that say what they need to do, but it takes a different level to be able to go and execute that. Everybody knows what they need to do, but to be able to do it when the pressure's on, some people crack, other people say pressure make diamonds. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Craig DeLong trying to shine bright like a diamond out there. A little Rihanna drop for you.
Love it.
Out front as they dip back into the woods. We'll see if Ricky Russell's able to track him back down. Ricky's just yo-yoing back and forth. He's offensive, defensive, whatever. He's like that one guy in the football team that you can put wherever you need.
That's right.
And we'll see if Ryder Lafferty's able to jump up, maybe make the pass for a second. Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to count it out. This thing's far from over, and he is not far from the lead. So we'll see how things shake up at the top of the XC1. Gus Riordan, another one, within one camera shot to another. He not only made a pass around Mason Simmons, but got around the points leader, Liam Draper. Gus looking and feeling good right now in the XC2 class.
Waiting on our leaders at mile marker number 4. Craig DeLong leading the way. Waiting on him to pop through here, the 3.42. And let's take a look at that FMF XC3. Maybe. Here we go. Toby Cleveland leading it out in front after 3. Just your top 3 riders have checked in there. Jack Walker, how about that? The 719 out of Morrisonville, Illinois on the Husqvarna sitting in the 2 spot. And Dakota DeVore back there in the 3 position. That's it for riders that have checked in so far.
Absolutely, yeah. Toby Cleveland, I think, has the potential to wrap up the XC3 title today, and is going to try to do it in a dominating fashion out front at the moment. He's had some bad luck in these last couple. Not sure whether it's problems with the bike, problems with the rider. Obviously, the conditions have been wild, but seems like whatever it has, he's got it figured out right now. In Cleveland, trying to bring this thing home in that 125 XC3 class.
Yeah, and I think the guy that he's competing with, correct me if I'm wrong, you're doing the podiums. I believe it's Dakota DeVore, I think, is the guy that's kind of throwing a wrench in the gears, if you will.
I know
maybe not.
Yeah, there's been some consistency up on the podium. I know Dakota, he's got to be in the mix. I'm not 100% sure if he's in second. I know Dakota DeVore has been. Jack Walker's another one that's been up in the mix as well. Sure. But nonetheless, I do know that it is Toby out front leading the way in the points, and with the potential to close the championship up by the end of this Buckwheat 100. We're hanging out at the FMF PowerPoint, mile number 4, waiting for your leaders to come around. And should still be that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Craig DeLong. There he is. Heard me talking about him. And he is doing exactly what he needed to do out front. He's put a couple of bike lanes back between himself and Ricky Russell. Then there is Ryder Lafferty just hanging tough at the moment.
Stu? Was that Ryder or was that Stu?
That was Ryder.
Yeah, that was Ryder. Okay,
yeah,
I'm looking late.
Ryder's got the pack, too.
I think I got excited. I'm just like, all right, let's
Johnny G did the same thing. I think they both wear shoey helmets.
Okay.
So it's a similar style.
There is Stu Baylor.
There's Stu. Got that hydration tube, his Camelback.
Snodgrass still hanging strong, kind of latched onto the back of Baylor. And there is Strang, the other Baylor, and then Evan Smith on the big girl.
Evan Smith able to make up a little bit of ground there.
Yeah, Smith really starting to put the pressure on the back of Grizzly. And we will wait to see the rest of the field as they come through. Looking like that is going to be Ben Kelly and then Trevor Bollinger. Ben Kelly, the solo effort out there for the FMF Red Bull KTM today. It sounds like Johnny Gerard, not sure whether it's sickness or what, but not quite feeling 100% today. And going to hold off going out there in conditions like these. It got to be a top performance.
Yeah, for sure.
And it looks like, could that be Liam Draper regaining the lead in XC2?
It sure is, and that should be Gus coming around now.
Yep, and then there is Simmons there in third. So Liam Draper wasn't a fan of hanging around in second in that XC2 class. Said, no, I liked it a lot better out front.
That's it, man.
The Ampro Yamaha making a pass there back in XC2. This should be Cody Barnes on the Phoenix Racing Honda. And I believe that's another one of our other riders in some of the other classes. And we've talked about it before. I mean, I love catching shots of some of the other classes, some of the vet classes and stuff like that, because put it like this, these guys make it look easy.
Oh, for sure.
There's no other way to say it. The cameras don't do the intensity of the course justice, and these guys make it look easy. It's when we start getting into some of the deeper classes that we really see just how treacherous the course is, whether we're talking about the mud or just the roots, the rocks, the hard pack, the off cambers. It is truly impressive to watch what these top level athletes are able to do each and every round of this Progressive GNCC series. So as we continue to wait for the rest of the field, it is Craig DeLong leading the way. Ricky Russell sitting in second, trying to chase him down on the AmPro Yamaha with the Coastal Gas XC1 debutee Ryder Lafferty rounding out your podium. We're going to get a word from our sponsors here in just a minute. There we go, getting the Yamaha live drone shot. There he is, Craig, Ricky, and Ryder all going at it, ducking back off into the woods. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back for the Canati Tires Buckwheat 100.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won the championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
last race ended on a high note for us. We've done a lot of work this off season and spent about 45, 48 of the last 50 days on the road just trying to make sure that this bike is as good as we can get in all conditions. We've bounced around from Indiana, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, trying to make sure that I've got the right settings for every event and just doing a little bit of extra work. And that's kind of, I feel like what's been happening in the results lately. And, been dominant in the National Enduros. It's been a long time coming. It's been one of those years just frustrating there. But, the speed's back, my confidence back. And, I feel like the only person that can beat me right now is me. So just got to go out there and, we came to do work. And, hey, today's the day to show it. I've been in this position at this race, led going into it, and I knew like, hey, you don't have to win. Don't beat yourself. Like, just be there for the last round. And that I rode like that day. I think Ben ended up beating me, bringing it down to the last round, and I know I'm strong at Ironman. So even still, I have that same mentality. Like, I don't need to win, but I want to win. I've put in way too much work. We've put in way too much as a team, as a program. I've juggled a lot this year, and I've been catching it from all ends. And I'm here. At the end of it, I'm here. And now it's the time to show what I'm made of. And again, it's just another work day, and it's time to get the job done. Man, I'm really happy to have a good conditioned racetrack. We haven't seen very many of those this year. I feel like I've put in a lot of work in these conditions, and most days, like, I regulate tracks with water to make sure that we get perfect conditions, and this is as perfect as it gets for GNCC. So I'm really happy to see it. And yeah, being a newer facility, every year it gets straighter, it gets faster, but regardless, it's about the same track, and I've won 2 of the 3 years we've been here. So, I know I can do it. I know we can get out there. It's one of those tracks that's really tough to pass. So, just got to be in a good position and make quick work, because we know I'm not going to get a start. I never do.
Well, there you go. He said, I'm not going to get a start. I never do. Well, he wasn't wrong. He's working his way through like the diesel does right now. So maybe it is all going according to plan for Stu Baylor right now.
I love it when a good plan comes together.
We talked about that gamble earlier that he took on the start, being on the outside there. And when you're a guy that doesn't get a good start, it's actually not that much of a gamble. You want to be on the outside there just in case everybody does blow wide. You can tuck under. And if you do get a good enough jump, you might still be able to get through there well. And it didn't pan out, but if you know you're not a good starter, lining up on the inside isn't the greatest, because you're just going to get jammed up there.
Well, I tell you what, regardless, your top 5 have now all closed up. There was Craig DeLong, Ricky Russell, Ryder Lafferty, Jordan Ashburn, and Stu Baylor. That's a 5-rider freight train. That's the closest that we have seen them all race long. Jordan Ashburn and Stu Baylor kind of breaking away from that second group. There's Lyndon Snodgrass kind of in no man's land, caught between the two of them. But yeah, a little bit of shakeup. We took a step outside the Racer TV trailer at commercials, and I don't want to say it's a full-on rain, but it's definitely a nice little mist in the air or something.
Moist.
So, a shakeup there.
And there's Josh Strang, and also Grant Baylor went by there. Ben Kelly has fallen off further back here.
Yeah, Ben Kelly and Trevor Bollinger kind of been going back and forth for the last lap or so.
Seems like that gap has opened up even a little bit more. They're falling a little further off the back of that train. And here comes, looks like possibly Liam Draper coming into screen.
Yep, Liam regaining that XC2 lead over Gus Riordan, and we'll see whether or not he's able to catch up to the group. We've seen it before, especially when he's able to get those XC1 guys in sight. He's more than capable of running the pace. Right now, he is a couple of bike lengths in front of, I believe that is Gus Riordan, and there is, what's his name? Mason Simmons.
Oh, I heard all that.
Spot.
I was with you guys on that one, though.
I got a text from Ross Morey, the owner of the Trail Jesters team, and said, yeah, that's Mason Simmons. Unfortunately, I didn't see that text until I was about 5 minutes into my, nope, that is absolutely Simon Johnson out there. There's your leaders on screen again. Still the 342 of Craig DeLong out front. And in hot pursuit, we got 4 riders now making it a 5-rider battle there. All trying to get to the front, get that point position. But Craig DeLong being stingy with it.
Well, and not only are we seeing that 5-rider battle, we're seeing lap traffic. Look, there you see your leader, Craig DeLong, getting slowed up just a little bit. Well, you think that was intentional right there? A little bit of powder dusting on the rest of the field?
Maybe just a little, hey, we're going to wear out this guy's filter a bit. Maybe have him have to pull a tear off. Every little bit, any advantage you can gain. But look at Ryder Lafferty, man. Just looking really racy, looking comfortable, and not looking like he's a newbie to the class today by any means.
Absolutely feeling good right now in the XC1 debut. Riders making their way. Okay, there we saw Ricky Russell dip into the pits. Let's see, looking like going to be the same for Craig DeLong. Comes in, going to be getting fresh goggles, fuel.
See a little words of wisdom from big brother Andrew there, former top XC1 contender and multi-time race winner in that XC2 class himself.
Looked like Lafferty might have gotten around Russell coming through the pits there.
So Ryder Lafferty up to second, and Stu Baylor, they're still getting out in that. There is Josh Strang, and Fred Andrews is. They're having to do a little traffic direction. They got so many guys coming in at one time here.
So there we see the Grizzly Grant Baylor stopping. He's good to go. Might actually make the pass on the teammate.
And there is Ben Kelly coming in for his stop.
Looking at the Yamaha live drone. Oh, back into the pits. There is Ben Kelly on the KTM. Goggles, gas, and go. Back out on course. Looks like, once again, him and Trevin Bollinger, table for two is set, going back at it.
We go back to the battle here in the woods as our XC2 riders starting to work their way in for their fuel stops. Torrid battle going on in that one as well, as we've seen the lead changing here in the last two laps. Out front, still it is the 342 machine of Craig DeLong in that XC1 and overall. There is your XC2 leader, the 198. Looking again to get the final wraps on that championship today, something he's been chasing for many years. And you know, it's got to be a really cool feeling for him. Actually looking like he lost the lead there. One of the two, let's see, it was hard to tell which was which, but I think that may have actually been Mason Simmons who got out there in the lead, and then Angus Riordan getting out there in the third place spot. So that was Liam Draper dropping back a spot there into the number 2 spot, but still enough for him to get the championship one here today, and that's the main goal for the Ampro Yamaha team and Liam Draper.
I have no doubt we'll talk more about it as we get down to the nitty-gritty in this one, but Johnny, you've been watching Liam since he came over and started racing GNCCs like I have, and I know just talking to him on the podium, there was years where it was like he was the whole shot machine, and then the podiums wouldn't come. And you could see kind of the disdain and the disappointment in Liam. I know this means a lot to him. You know that as well, what this means to Liam Draper.
And he's been chasing it for a number of years here, you know, coming from New Zealand, obviously being away from home, finding a new family and a new support group here, but obviously giving up so much to travel to chase his dreams. And all these years later, here he is, leader on screen, Craig DeLong. Pressure from the number 10 on that Coastal Gas of Ryder Lafferty. And there is Ricky Russell, the 212 Ampro Yamaha. But yeah, I mean, look, you talked about it. Whole shot machine, couldn't get those podiums. It was like, today's the day he's going to get the podium, and it would get something would happen at the last minute. Then it seemed like it was the same thing with wins. You know, he'd be on the cusp of it. He'd be right there, you know, final inches, and he'd have it torn away from him. Finally getting those wins, and this year, putting it all together. And you know, from probably about the first 4 races, beyond that on, he's just been the rock in that XC2 class, you know, scoring max points every time he goes out, and has just been slowly, steadily marching away with that points lead.
Call me crazy. I think the best thing that happened to Liam this year was Mike Wachowski passing him at the last second at the Hoosier.
You want to talk about a heartbreaker. I mean, that seemed like that was the one that just really pushed him over the edge. You could see the absolute, you know, just frustration, despair in his eyes when he crossed the finish line, and then very soon after at the Mason-Dixon, finally getting the job done. And I mean, there was tears everywhere grabbing that win, and ever since then it's been it's not necessarily been that he's been running away with massive gaps, but he's just had that little extra air of confidence, and it's translated into, you know, the points lead. It's translated into sitting here today on the cusp of winning his first ever XC2 national championship.
Hopefully he keeps it up. Well, I'm not counting anything yet. I'm gonna. Yesterday I was talking about Bryson Neal taking a win, and then you know he sat on the side of the track for 5 minutes. So I'm not putting any, nor not stamping it yet. But
if I can give one little piece of advice there, you never take out the number 1 plate. You never take the the celebratory jerseys and any of that stuff. You keep that hidden from the rider. You keep that in the trailer until the finish line is crossed. It's just that juju. We've seen it so many times. And ultimately Bryson Neal ended up winning that championship yesterday anyway. But it was a heartbreaker, sure, on the last lap there. It's so much nicer to win a championship with a win.
Oh, for sure.
But the championship still counts.
Still take
just the same.
Still take it.
Got some lap riders sideways here at the 11-mile marker, looking like our leaders are headed on the way, but all that gets cleared out. And there it is. There are your top two. A little bit of gap over the 212 of Ricky Russell.
And I believe that's coming out of that wetter section. It looks like they go through some standing water. Jordan Ashburn and Stu starting to close up on the back of the Ampro Yamaha as well.
3 laps complete, just about an hour and a half into this one. You know, we start thinking and looking at this, you know, if the race would finish as it is, as we know there's a lot of action left, that would be a big shakeup in the points.
Yeah.
You know, with Craig DeLong out front with 30 points, Stu sitting back there in that 5th place spot, you know, that would be a massive swing in the points, putting Craig DeLong solidly in the points lead.
Yeah.
But we've seen Stu Baylor on the charge. He's definitely making up positions. And again, with each one of those passes, points to the good for him. Ultimately needing to get up there at least to the number 2 spot just to keep things tied up going into the final round at Ironman in 2 weeks, but actually would need to make the pass on Craig DeLong to still have the lead outright, assuming Craig stays in the point position.
Oh, almost going down there. We saw that off-camera turn right there. Some big fireworks yesterday on the four-wheel side of things. And especially with the lap riders, it's tough. You're not able to oftentimes take the line that you're wanting to take as well. But for a second there, I thought Stu was going to run her in on the number 1. He is definitely starting to feel the need to get going at this point.
He's trying those outside ins there, Zach, and actually got a little insight from Addie Harris, the winner of our women's class this morning. She came in and was talking to her. She moved up to that morning 10 a.m. race for the first time, and she said the field out there was like moon dust, and I'd never heard that term before, but it's just so loose and loamy. If you try to stuff it in there, it can take all your momentum away. You're better off just, in some of the corners, you're better off just staying up, staying high on the hard pack, where, you know, you can keep your momentum up.
Yeah, we've seen the Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell doing that a lot, especially early in the race. He was hugging tight, and it looked slower on screen, but he was able to get a stronger drive exiting the corner. You try to grab a big handful in the dust, and like you said, it just seems to suck all the momentum away.
Sucks up the momentum, and the other thing that is hard to see with where there's that powder is sometimes there's a rut or there's a square edge under there, and, you know, it'll just jerk the bars out of your hands. It'll take away all your forward drive without you realizing what happened. Here we go. Leaders on screen again. And there are your top 3 still in the same order, but it almost seems to me like Ryder Lafferty getting even a little more racy. Seems like he's getting up there, starting to show Craig DeLong a wheel, and we may see ourselves a new leader here if Ryder Lafferty keeps up this intensity.
Well, that's what I was just about to ask, Johnny. You talk about the intensity. We talked about it yesterday even as far as big picture. Craig DeLong, he knows there's one person in particular he needs to stay in front of, and that is Stu Baylor. If he really starts to get the pressure applied behind him from Ryder Lafferty, you think you could see him, if he starts to feel like he's riding over his head, maybe just, you know what? Welcome to XC1. Do what you need to do. At this point, I'm trying to take a championship.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, in the right mindset, that could actually be an advantage for Craig if it goes that way. Obviously, no way to know how this one will play out. But if he starts to feel like the pressure's becoming too much, he's pushing more than he wants to, you know, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to let Ryder go, especially if it seems the way they are now, they're starting to pull away from Ricky Russell and the rest of the pack. If Ryder's got that much intensity, let him lead, tag off him, kind of take the toe, get in his draft, see if you can't open yourself up a little bit of a, you know, gap over the guys behind you, and especially Stu Baylor, which is the guy that you got to beat today.
Absolutely, yeah. It sounds like Stu's starting to pick up the pace as well. He can feel it's time to get going, and you even said it yesterday. It's easier to follow than to lead. It's one thing to be dragging along the rest of the people behind you, but when you're behind, you're able to see, oh, wow, he's going to the inside here. I didn't even think about taking that line there. So, yeah, definitely could be an advantage, and that is playing into the hands of the number 10 of Lafferty. Looks like he's switched up a couple of lines, and as you said, really starting to look racy right now. But Craig, looking like he responded there, puts several bike lengths between himself and the number 10.
Yep, and now Ricky back to the rear wheel, so that has tightened back up again. You know, and it's interesting. A lot of these guys have different preferences. You know, Stu Baylor, almost never a guy that leads early. I mean, yes, there's been a few races where he just got out front and ran away, but he seems to be the guy that kind of likes to sit back there, let the race sort itself out. Obviously, probably didn't want to be quite as far back as he was earlier in the race today, but he's made it work for him. He's now up with inside of the lead, but he's not the guy. If you think about how much Craig DeLong has led, not only this year, but in the last 2 years, I mean, he's a guy, he gets good starts, and he's stingy. He doesn't want to give up that lead. And that, to me, shows a bit of mental strength, you know, because it is a lot easier to sit in that second, third place position, see where the lines pan out. But, you know, Craig, as he's establishing himself, not only as a championship contender as he has the last 2 years, but as a guy who wants to be considered the favorite to win the championship, no better way to do that than go out there and just click off wins, and the only way to do that is just to get yourself out front and get comfortable being there.
To your point, Johnny, I think either today or in a few weeks from now when we go to Ironman, at some point he's going to have to go elbow to elbow, mano a mano with Stu or with Ben. Ben's still in it, certainly in there. But at some point, Craig's going to have to get in that boxing ring with those boys. And he commented, I asked him a little bit about that. Like, man, you had some chances to take some shots at the last round. He goes, yeah, dude, I lost sleep over that. Like, it really bothered me that I didn't take some of those shots that I should have taken.
And to be fair to the people at home, when we say take shots, we're not talking about,
yes, correct.
We're not necessarily talking about takeouts or even necessarily aggressive riding.
Correct.
It's just, if an inside's left open, you got to run a wheel.
You got to go with it.
Yeah,
got to force the issue, absolutely.
And Craig DeLong is the consummate nice guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's everybody's little brother, and he doesn't want to be that anymore. He wants to be the big brother. He wants to push these guys around.
And he's got Big Brother here today, probably telling him that exact thing.
He was there at the pit.
Go do it.
And
buddy.
the only thing I could, I'll
Can
be
you
honest.
repeat what he said?
No, because I'll make this personal for a minute. Spent a lot of time with these guys back when Craig was in the A-Lights class and, just coming into racing. Andrew was a top XC2 rider, moving up to XC1 at the time. And we would spend time, we've talked about it before, road bike rides, training and stuff down in Florida. Andrew, Mark DeLong is known to be hard on the boys, but quietly. Like, he just quietly disapproves with the head shake and a kind of disapproving look, and those guys turn themselves inside out trying to make Dad happy. Whereas, Craig right now, he's doing this for himself. There's no question.
Absolutely.
But all of the influences growing up, including, those road bike rides, those training sessions where Andrew is screaming at him at the top of his lungs, things that not necessarily cuss words, but I wouldn't repeat because they were so demeaning, but meaning it with love and saying, hey, man, you're capable of more.
Yeah.
Craig is an emotional kid. You can see it in his eyes after the races. He lives this. He breathes this. He loves this. And Andrew, his dad, everybody around him, the team, trainer, all those guys, they just want to see Craig do what they know he's capable of. And right now, he's laying it all on the line.
He is right now. He's going for it. Fun to watch.
Johnny, I know you and I were talking before the start. I was like, how do you think this is going to shake up? And he was like, well, what I think or what I want. And what you were wanting was a great finale. And at the moment, that's what it's starting to look like. Now, even if Stu finishes just behind Craig DeLong, we'd be coming into the final round tied up.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you could paint a better picture. And it sounds like Stu's actually maybe even made the pass around number 1 of Ashburn. Things are just heating up as we get ready for the final.
Ideally, what I would have liked to have seen today would have been the point shakeout, however they worked out, that we could have had those 3 riders and heck, maybe even shake it up enough that somehow Jordan wins and he's back in there with the shot. That's what I would like to see. That said, the way it's panning out, it is quickly becoming, as you pointed out, potentially a mano-a-mano battle between Craig DeLong and Stu Baylor, not only whether it be today rubbing elbows, but potentially at Ironman. While Ben Kelly, not out of the picture completely yet, needs to get moving today and get himself up there and put himself in the battle for the win to have a shot to stay in this one. Right now, Craig DeLong doing everything right and Stu Baylor on the move.
Sounds like I got an update. Looks like we're looking at a 7-lap race here today as Stu Baylor was able to get around Jordan Ashburn up into the 4 spots, so things getting...
Jordan Ashburn, not an easy guy to pass.
No, not at all.
Very difficult to pass. He's a smart rider. He holds his line. He knows these racetracks. He knows what he needs to do to run the fast line, as is evident by the fact he's wearing the number 1 plate as last year's champion.
And it looked like as they were getting ready to dip back into the woods, they lost a little bit of time. We saw the number 1 and Stu Baylor both close in on the back of the Yamaha, but Stu now going to have to go back to work to chip away to catch up to Ricky Russell. That is another one, not easy to get around.
No. Ricky is very stingy with ground as well. He's not afraid to throw some elbows. And folks at home, when we talk about this, these guys all have a mutual respect for each other. Very, very rarely do you ever hear any words even exchanged between these guys. But in some cases, interesting line.
Who is that? Pulled off the side. Is that?
Can we get down?
Taking a look.
Stu Baylor. I see
like Baylor?
The water pack on the back of Stu Baylor. He slid off the side of the track. He's got his goggles off.
Uh-oh.
They're on the right side. He's taking off.
And heading
Bike is
for the
running,
pits.
but he's headed back to the pits. Well, folks, this is what you call a massive shakeup. He is headed back to the pits on that Teely Energy Rocky Mountain KTM machine for what appears to be some repairs needed.
Jackson Burrell heading down to the Zach Heron heading down to the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM pits. And he's probably going to get there about the same time as Stu, so he'll probably do a little play-by-play for us before he's able to get an interview. But Speculation, Johnny, what may we be looking at here?
I mean, the possibilities are endless, but the way they had the bike leaned over, he was looking at something on the right rear of the bike, which appeared to be a brake system, but you wouldn't pull off the track with a brake issue. You would continue, the amount of time he's losing right now, he's dropping well outside of the top 10, top 15, possibly outside the top 20, depending on how long the repairs take. And mind you, he has to go back to that same spot on the course to regain the race. He's actually just come by the back of our Racer TV trailer, and he's headed back to the pro pits. So the only thing I can think of is a damaged wheel. The way that bike is riding, it doesn't appear to have a wobble, but that's the only thing I can think of is a rear wheel change because he's afraid the wheel may not stay together to finish the lap. Pure speculation. I have absolutely no idea. Rear end of the bike looks like it's down. Do we have a broken linkage?
That's what it appears like, most definitely. Something is wrong with that suspension. Oh, man.
And that is raw emotion. They're going to go to work to try to get this thing fixed, but this puts Stu Baylor very, very much on his back foot, not only for the rest of this race, but leading into Ironman. I mean, this, depending on how long this repair takes, we'll obviously keep an eye on it, folks. We'll see when he gets back out there. Obviously needs to head back to that same spot on the racetrack. Looks like they might be scrounging for parts, trying to figure out exactly what they need to do. Can't get a close enough look, but either a shock bolt fell out, a broken linkage, something on the rear of that machine allowed, we saw the back end of the machine was dropped down, broken shock spread. I mean, there's a million different possibilities, but something with the rear of that suspension on the machine allowing it to drop down, and they're trying to make some repairs now. We've got, again, Zach Heron on his way down there. Zach, please be careful.
Yeah, be careful.
Do not get in the mix on this one.
Yeah, guys, I'm at a safe distance right now, I promise.
Can you see anything down there, Zach, that you can kind of tell what may be happening? What is it? It's something with the rear suspension.
The bike is back up and running. The rear wheel is turning. They've got it pulled over.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know why they would.
And here we go. He's back off and rolling.
And as you mentioned, Johnny, he's got to go back to where he came off the track. So, man.
So, guys, I'm getting the word. It sounds like it is a broken shock bolt in the bike. That is the problem. A broken shock bolt seems to be the problem for the 514.
And this is so frustrating because Stu even looking confused for a moment as to exactly where he needs to go back to. But he is heading back exactly to where he came off of the race course. We saw him come this opposite direction just a few moments ago. He's going to be good to see Stu taking his time, being cautious, understanding that, yes, the racetrack does run through here, so he's trying to do everything that he can do to get back to the spot where he departed the race course, obviously without going backwards on the racetrack. So good thinking on his part. He's going to have to kind of get through this wood section and get down to that other valley. Just below where that banner you see there is where he kind of exited the racetrack, so he's going to have to go across that ridge and rejoin right in there in the racetrack.
Tough break for Stu Baylor.
Enormous. I mean, that might have been the championship right there for Stu. And I can tell you, though, right now, for this last hour plus of racing, that is going to be a madman on the racetrack.
The only thing I can say is, being that it was a broken shock bolt, they were able to get it repaired very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a clock on that. I don't know if we could go back and check the race clock to see how much time he actually lost, talking to our producer, Adam Gordon, if we can check and see if we do have a time and see how that pans out. Ultimately, we'll know when he checks in next lap where he stands on corrected time on the overall. I can say this, with the time he lost, I believe he will still be solidly inside the top 20 overall, meaning he's gaining points. The question is, how far back has he dropped, and how many positions can he make up between now and when the checker flag flies? Obviously, with the 5-point lead on Craig DeLong, to go in tie-dye to Ironman, he would need to get back to second place, assuming Craig DeLong wins the race. Realistically, I feel that's 4
minutes. That's a long time, Johnny. 4 minutes.
Mike, if you don't mind, I'm going to borrow
you get in there.
The overall here.
Johnny is going to do. He's got his abacus out.
A lapse time on the overall, dropping 4 minutes with Craig DeLong there at 1 hour 30 minutes 29. Stu was at 1 hour 30 minutes 56 seconds. So 1:30. basically 131. 4 minutes would drop him back to 135. Yes, he would be outside the top 20. He'd be about a minute outside the top 20 as they run. So that's something that he's going to have a lot of digging to do. I believe that if that machine stays together and he does not break it to pieces with his rage, we will likely see him back into the top 20, but each one of those single points will become hugely important.
I know, people either love Stu or they hate him, right? It's a love-hate for Stu Baylor. I got to say, the emotion right there probably warranted in this situation. I mean, I think I would be as frustrated as Stu Baylor was in that moment.
Guys, I'm telling you what, as I was pulling into pit lane, it was just jaws were on the floor. Like, everybody was like, what is going on? I mean, it was just absolute chaos. It seemed like, I heard you mention, Johnny, it seemed like they were ready. They knew something was going on, ultimately limited the damage. But, yeah, that's a huge shakeup in the whole championship right there.
Absolutely. And in the pre-race fodder, there's a lot of bench racing going on. And this morning, just like we do in here, who do you think is going to win? Who's going to be up front? And I think the thing that I heard said the most was, the way Stu's riding right now, whether he wins or he doesn't, he's going to be up there. He's going to be in the top 3. But I heard it said 3 or 4 times. The one thing that may hold him back is potentially a mechanical. That seems to be kind of his Achilles heel. And we don't know, exactly how that played out. But I mean, for a linkage bolt to break, you can't even speculate. But those typically don't just snap. Something causes it to snap. So that is super unfortunate. Not what you want to see. We want to see this thing come down to wheel-to-wheel battle, rubbing elbows, and it still may. It's not out of the question.
Yes, for sure.
There's still over an hour and 20 minutes of racing to go yet today. As we have been told, a 7-lap race. We're 4 in. So much could transpire. Not that you want to wish ill luck on anyone, but what I would like to see, and we were talking about Stu Baylor on screen here at the 4-mile marker, riding like an absolute man possessed and in pursuit of every single point he can possibly get to keep himself in this discussion for this 2023 championship.
I'm telling you what, we talked about Stu being willing to throw elbows. Elbows are up, elbows are out. Be on the lookout. I'm telling you what.
I feel sorry for 2 things.
Anybody who's not an XC1 rider right now that's in Stu's way?
No, I feel sorry for the trees on this property and Stu Baylor's motorcycle, because he is going to do everything in his power, and there will be no risk not taken from now to the finish line to try to gain points. It doesn't matter what his pit board says. He is on a mission to absolutely do ridiculous things between now and when the checkered flag flies.
That's a bull seeing red right now, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, it's as I was entering the pits, there was a lot of emotion spilling out. We'll put it like that. And his wife Jade there kind of gathered him back up. Hey, it's not over. Don't throw it away. Stu was almost walking away. You could see on the verge of breaking down. Wife kind of helped pull him back together. The goggles came back on. He's clicking gears, disappears back out on course. So
and you need that. You need to have someone that can ground you, especially someone like Stu. Incredibly emotional, incredibly driven. He's worked so hard.
This means a lot.
He's been in this position before. He has not yet been able to put the wraps on this championship. To be sitting in the points lead, with inside of the leader, 3 laps left in this one and 1 more race, you got to believe he just had that quiet confidence about him. To have the rug just yanked out from underneath him, you need someone to say, hey man, this isn't over. Like, you've got to. The only way to be certain that you don't win this championship is to do something stupid right now. You got to just do everything that you possibly can and ride your heart out and make good decisions and keep yourself in the fight.
That's it. Hey, on the flip of this, let's talk Craig DeLong. Now, DeLong out in front, he's got pressure from Lafferty. Unless he's had a pit board that's told him, and they probably, I would think, if I'm Rockstar Husky right now, I'm not saying anything about Baylor. I want Craig to still have that sense of urgency out front.
Yeah, I think the only way that message needs to be relayed is, had Stu have been out of the race altogether, because they can't control what Stu's going to do from here. I mean, if Stu goes on a run, we've seen riders, and one that I can think of, it was a little earlier in the race, Caleb Russell cartwheeled himself into oblivion and outside the top 50, I believe, overall. I think he was like 84th overall and came back to...
Madman.
I can't remember the exact... I do know he came back and was on the podium. I think he finished 3rd place. Again, different times, different situation, and that was after lengthy bike repairs. The bike was all twisted up. Stu Baylor is capable of those kind of things. He is a phenomenal athlete. He is incredibly driven, and there's so much on the line for him right now. You don't want to tell Craig to let up, because next thing you know, Stu works his way back to 5th place, and Craig gave up, valuable points in the championship. So this thing isn't over. I think maybe if they start to sense or feel that Craig is on the verge of, potentially going down, pushing too hard, that's when you pass that message along to make them a little more comfortable. Like, hey, get max points today, but do it safely. But I don't think we're there yet.
Right. Yeah, good point. And then, you know what? If you are Ben Kelly in this situation, where did Ben check in? He checked in, back in 15th place after 4.
And that's about where he was the lap prior as well.
Yeah.
Just not doesn't seem to be able to get things going. Don't know if there's an issue there or just potentially not comfortable with the bike, the settings, whatever it may be. Just not capitalizing on an opportunity today so far. Again, still 3 laps of and although he wasn't back in 15th, was not running well at this point of our race 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago in West Virginia, ultimately charging up and getting himself into some points-paying positions much higher up. But he was back outside or near the back of the top 10 throughout much of the race 3 weeks ago.
And, Johnny, you talked about the comfort on the motorcycle. Obviously, it's hard to be comfortable out on course, but nonetheless, talk about how difficult it can be when you feel like not only are you fighting the track, but you're fighting your machine as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch any type of racing, whether it be automobile racing, motorcycle racing, bicycle racing, we talk about settings. We talk about, these guys don't just take a motorcycle out of the box and bring it to the racetrack. I mean, there's infinite number of hours done at the test track, done with their suspension techs, with everything down to, the bib selection that goes inside the tire. Leaders on screen there, Craig DeLong, and still heavy pressure from behind the Coastal Racing gas machine of Ryder Lafferty just saying, nope, I'm here. This might be my first race, but it's still a dirt bike, and I know how to ride it, and I am going to stick this thing as close to Craig DeLong as I can. Ricky Russell still there solidly in the number 3 spot. As we look back, looking for, there he is, the number 1 Magnum Motorsports Husqvarna of Jordan Ashburn, our defending champion, up in the 4th place spot. And I see some green fenders, some Kawasaki's coming through, looking like they're marred up a little bit in some lapped traffic there, but that should be our 5th and now 6th place riders checking in, and that is the 2 Kawasaki teammates of Grant Baylor and the freight train, Josh Strang.
Curious to see where Linus Snodgrass is. Sorry to catch you off on that. I know he was in front of his teammates there last time I had seen.
I noticed at the pit stop, it didn't seem like he came in at the same time.
I didn't see him.
It looked like they were waiting. We may have missed him, but he did not come into the pit the same time that those other 2 guys were there. And then there is,
I believe that
should be Trevor Bollinger, and it looks like he is actually shaken the 530 of Ben Kelly. Looks like we may have Lyndon Snodgrass there on screen coming in the background. That is a Kawasaki.
Smith maybe just in front of him, and then Snodgrass, I believe.
It is the 178 of Lyndon Snodgrass and the 347. Again, that Liqui Moly Beta team fielding a rider in the XC1 class for the first time in some time. And
on the big girl.
He's been hanging tough. That's what we talked about. He calls it the big girl. I believe it's the 430, our Beta machine. I think they have a 450 coming because I think that is the plan for those guys to ride that in the Outdoor Nationals and Supercross. They've got Colt Nichols and Benny Bloss. So a lot of things going on with that factory Beta team. And we love to see new teams coming into racing. It means more rides, means more exciting riders, more opportunities. And here is the 530 of Ben Kelly. Again, just not quite seeming to be the BK that we are accustomed to seeing. And I think we have our XC2 battle coming.
I was about to say, yeah, look at the top 3 there in XC2, wheel to wheel to wheel. Those 3 have been going at it all race long. And it looked like, was that Riordan without goggles?
Yep, Riordan there in 2nd, and then Simmons in 3rd. Is that Cody Barnes there? It is. Back to
taking a look, back in the pit lane here. Waiting to possibly see your leaders.
There we go. Craig DeLong on screen, the 342 machine. And Ryder Lafferty, and not only does he look racy, he just looks comfortable.
He really does. I mean, and Ryder's such a tough dude, too. Like, I mean, it's not really... If you know Ryder, I'm not really shocked right now, Johnny. Like, this he's capable of this.
And, Ryder, although not necessarily that large in stature, he's not a tall guy, he's got that Lafferty build, just like Uncle Mike. They're enduro riders that are like the Baylor brothers. They go through trees. They don't go around them. So he really likely does fit, the larger machine better. He's ridden the 250 very, very well, but not surprised to see him so at home. I didn't ask, but I'm assuming he's on the 350 machine
today. I think
so. And it's just a bike that may fit his riding style better. And it's just there's no pressure. There's not a championship on the line for him. There's no points.
Playing with
He's
house
out there.
money.
Hey, I want to show these guys what I'm capable of. I want to earn my spot on this team and other teams in the future. And if I show I can run up front, I don't know what Ryder's expectations or goals would have been coming into today, but he is a rider named Ryder.
I see what you did.
Who never seems happy. If you watch him, even when he wins races, it's just this subtle little smirk. I think if we see Ryder Lafferty on the podium in XC1 today, an overall podium, I think we may see the biggest smile we've ever seen. Lyndon Snodgrass on screen, putting some pressure on Evan Smith there.
Ryder Lafferty, kind of like me, you got that RBF. People are like, I was going to say hi to you. You look like you were really busy. I'm like, I promise you that's just my face. I'm actually very nice.
For what it's worth, Mikey, I've heard you say that before. I just don't see that in you.
Oh, really?
You always seem happy to me.
Oh, mercy. Well, most of the time, yeah.
Now, Zach, I always feel like he's yesterday I came by the Racer TV studio and he threw a gesture at me. I thought we were going to fight for a minute.
Hey, it's cold. What can I say, all right?
It is chilly. I'm not complaining, though. No rain, although it did sprinkle for about 30 seconds.
Ben Kelly on screen. Again, it looks like still continuing to struggle to make up ground. Sitting back last we knew. They will be checking in here at the completion of lap number 5 soon. And here comes your battle for the XC2 lead.
Liam looking good.
You know, I'm thinking back. I think that was as you were walking by the TV truck, Johnny, and telling me you weren't going to come chat with us yesterday. So maybe I wasn't in the best mood. Now
I digress.
You guys make it a joy to work here.
Mile number 11, we wait and we watch. The 342 Rockstar Husqvarna of Craig DeLong out front, chased by training partner and fellow Northeasterner Ryder Lafferty there on the number 10 Coastal Racing Gas, and then the 212 Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell there in third. Jordan Ashburn putting on a push, looking like he's getting a little closer there. The number 1 Magnum Motorsports Husqvarna rider, defending champion. Out here, everybody else is talking about this battle for the top 3 in the championship. And Jordan Ashburn saying, guys, I want to win this race today. And here comes Stu Baylor now through the Monster Mile. You can see that is the gap. That's how far he is behind the leaders now. That is actually looking like it's one of our A riders there, Jason Tino, on the number 226 machine that's pulling quite a bit of the course marking with him.
Stake with him as well.
So that gives us an idea of exactly where Stu Baylor is slotting in the overall. I believe at one point we'd seen Jason Tino was leading that
250A? Yeah, 250A class. Jason Tino, when he checked in last time, he was in the number 17 spot. So
overall.
Over OA, yes. So you got to think adjusted time in there as well. So Stu he's moving up.
Nearing the back of that top 20 and starting to get to the point of scoring points. But they will be scoring in or checking into the scoring tent here soon. And we'll have a real-time update on where Stu is and what that means for our championship points battle heading into our final round of racing here in 2 weeks.
Less than 4 minutes before they should check in for another lap completed. Again, 7-lap race, right?
That's
yeah, 7-lap race. So we're getting there, boys. We're about 2 hours
drama.
into it. I know. Like I'm just sitting here thinking about all the scenarios playing out, and like just when you think you're like, okay, I've got this season. We know exactly how this is going to wind down at Ironman. Forget it. Throw it out the window. That's how two-wheel side has gone all year. It's been a historic season, so many different winners, and just the parity that has been this season has been nuts.
I believe that's your leaders on screen. Yeah, there we're seeing.
Craig DeLong with a big dab there.
Yep. Throwing the foot down, keeps her on 2 wheels.
I don't know that we've seen a race where someone led just with, as much pressure as Craig DeLong has had this entire race and never given up the lead once, at least not on camera. He has been out front from the moment Ricky Towery's flag twitched. Craig DeLong fired and was off the line, and no one has gotten a wheel ahead of him yet.
And another thing that I've noticed, I might have missed it, but I haven't seen him look back once. Now, obviously, there's a couple spots on track where you can mark the riders, but it doesn't look like he's concerned about who's behind him. He's focused forward. It's like he said in that pre-race interview, all I need to do is win.
Yeah.
Seems to be focusing forward and trying to do just that.
I think Craig DeLong went home over the last couple of weeks and watched some old Caleb Russell highlights or something. Like, this is just, it's been a stellar ride. And, yeah, to your point, he's had pressure.
A lot of pressure from several different riders, too. But the good news is, when you look back, you don't know it's a different rider.
That's true.
You just see a front tire. They all look the same.
That's it. Yeah, woo, baby, go. The fans losing it for you there, Craig.
Here is Stu now coming through the pit. So he's working his way closer to getting to that finish line and checking in. He's now worked his way around Jason Tino on the number 226 Magna 1 Motorsports Husqvarna there leading the way in that 4-stroke A lights, or 250A class.
So if you're the Rocky Mountain ATVMC Teal Energy KTM team, at this point, what's going on the pit boards? I mean, I'm assuming it's just positive reinforcement.
Haul the mail.
Yeah, just letting you know where you're at.
Need points. Go fast.
Go fast.
Which Stu knows all that. I'm sure if I had to guess what they're actually putting on the pit board, it would probably be updating him of his position.
Just information,
in the overall, just so he knows, it is kind of reassuring to know that you're making ground. Obviously, he sees he's passing riders, but he has no idea. There's no way for him to know. Stu's talked about how he does math in his head.
That's
much
true.
better than Jet Lawrence. But he does math in his head.
You did there.
But it's not possible to do time correction because you're talking seconds at that point.
Yeah.
So he's he needs that information, or may want that information, I should say. Ultimately, what he needs to do is go as fast as he can and get max points. But the reassurance of knowing, yep, this is working. I'm making up ground. I'm making up points. It definitely helps. Leaders on screen. There's your top three. Craig DeLong still out front. Ryder Lafferty putting a lot of pressure on behind there. Ricky Russell running that outside line, getting into that moon dust, as Eddie Harris called it earlier. And Craig is always... You watch Craig, he moves back and forth on the bike quite a bit more than a lot of riders do. He's obviously shorter in stature, but he's really good about getting up over that front end under braking to make sure that he's got that front wheel grip. And there we go. Bang, Mikey Waynes.
Bang.
He's checked in with 5 laps complete, and he has led this thing from the start.
Lafferty still all over me is the shadow. You can throw a blanket over him, not just any blanket, a baby blanket.
Or a GNCC blanket.
Or a GNCC. You know what? I could use one of those right now.
Yeah.
No kidding.
If the folks in the Moto Tees trailer are listening, we will take a complimentary, or for that fact, we'll pay for it. Just bring us over a blanket. Little chilly here in the Racer TV trailer. Good racing action up front. Maybe not what we had hoped for in terms of, the three-way battle to sort out this championship, but drama has not been one thing that we are lacking here today. There's been a lot of things shaking out on the racetrack. Craig DeLong doing everything that he can do. 5 points back coming into today's race. Grabbed the whole shot, has never looked back. Stu Baylor on the charge, worked his way all the way up to that number 4 position, and here he is on screen now at the 11-mile marker, and that gives you an idea. Think back to how long ago it was that we saw him on screen there, our leaders on screen there. That is the gap. Adam Gordon did the math, and it was round about 4 minutes that he lost there with that changing of the broken shock bolt. I feel like our leaders have started to stretch out just a little bit, but we've seen that throughout the race. Ricky Russell seems to kind of get up there to the rear wheel, lose a little bit of ground.
Yeah, I was just about to say, kind of done a yo-yo all day long. Seems like he's getting caught, and then he catches a fire, and he catches back up to that front 2 group, and so good to see Ricky still charging hard as we just cross over the 2-hour mark. And I'm sure he's not stoked about the rookie getting back around him. He's, hey, Ryder Lafferty, welcome to XC1, but let me show you what it's all about. Yeah,
he is.
Yeah, but, to still be in sight of the leader, we do have a lot of racing left, 2 laps of racing left before this one is complete. And, Ricky has been very fast this year. Obviously, he has won a race. He's put himself in the position to be on the podium and win races many times. The one thing that he has admitted has been a struggle for him has been kind of late in the race, maintaining the mojo. But most of those races, if you think back, he led almost the entirety of it, or it would be him and Craig or him and somebody else going back and forth. He's really kind of been back there in that catbird seat, in that, he was 3rd behind Lane Michael, or 2nd behind Craig DeLong with pressure from Lane Michael. Then when that sorted itself out, today he's kind of been saving energy and sitting back there. So that could be a factor as we get deeper into the race.
Now take a look on screen. That is Stu Baylor at the bottom of the screen. Possibly not. We thought we were getting word from... Nope. We thought there was a chance that the leaders were going to be passing by in the opposite direction of Stu, and it would have been a little bit of a wake up, just to let them know where they were. There is Craig DeLong popping out of the woods.
And that is not Stu coming the other way just yet, but we'll keep an eye open and see if we do see him.
And if Stu is doing math, like we said, if he can cross paths with them, he's counting them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and let me do the math. Carry the 1. That's going to be Stu.
I think at this point, it's heavy throttle hand and forward as fast as you can go. I mean, yes, you want to know that you're making progress, but it's the individual positions, and those time gaps are almost immaterial at this point. He needs to go as fast as he can and gain every position he can.
Focus forward, just past the next guy in front of you. That's it. That's all he's doing right now. Up to this point, up to 14th has checked in. That is Ben Kelly out of the XC1 back there. And then you got a big gap. Grant Davis would be the next rider due in, and he was about 35 seconds back.
Craig DeLong, Ryder Lafferty, and Ricky Russell. There's your top 3 checked in. See what the gap is back to Jordan Ashburn. Looks like it has opened up again.
Yep.
For a moment there, when we saw him at the 11-mile marker, Jordan had pushed himself to within sight. Seems like now he's lost that draft a little bit. Jordan's a rider, that would really like to get a win today. Like, again, we started to talk about it. That hasn't been as much in the conversation as he'd like to be of this 2023 championship. And as the defending champion, he'd love to do nothing more than to get a win and say, hey, guys, I'm still here. I am the champ, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah, no, that Magnum 1 Husqvarna has been looking good all year long. He's very silky smooth, at least from what I've seen. I never quite see him ride over his head. Even when he does mount a charge, it never looks like he's hanging it out, if you will. It always looks like he's wicked it up, but he's still well within his comfort zone. And so we'll see whether or not he's able to latch back onto the back of this top 3 rider group. As we see Craig DeLong just picking his way around the lap traffic. And has put a decent amount of time, actually, between himself and Ryder. Ryder was much closer, I feel like, the last time we saw him on camera.
Yeah, definitely. There was, but when you get into these faster sections of racetrack, that's where you kind of get that accordion effect. The dust plays a factor, lappers playing a factor, a lot of things going on here, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Ryder back on his rear wheel here in, a matter of just a few turns. Ricky Russell still right there. These 3 just kind of waiting each other out. You can speculate and you can wonder, but is Craig DeLong absolutely pinned, going as hard as he can, or is he just happy to be in the point position? He seems like he does pick it up whenever he gets a little pressure, but he doesn't look like he's in full sprint mode. He looks very comfortable, looks confident, looks like he's kind of picking his lines and riding the race the way he wants to ride it. Now, Stu Baylor coming down. He's got 2 more turns until we'll see him checking in. We'll get an official update from live scoring as to where he sits in that overall.
Stu Baylor 17th OA
hold
right
tight,
now.
Because there's a couple of riders behind him.
Good point. Yes,
when they check in, they will get
guys.
the time correction. But that gives you an idea. He is very near.
Dropping.
So he's just dropped back to 18th.
Yep.
Well, we'll give that a minute or 2 to sort itself out. But he is very near, currently checking in the 17th, dropping back to 18th. And as some riders check in, we've got, looks like, Nick DeFeo and JoJo Cunningham both could potentially displace him on corrected time when they check in as well.
And it's cool to see some of the other teams. Obviously, plenty of fans there for Stu, but I don't think anybody wants to see it lost like this. Everybody wanted a good battle, and so they're excited to see him back out there and giving him some encouragement. Hey, keep going, keep believing. You don't know what's going to happen, and so cool to see kind of the whole family rallying around him, because if you're going to lose a title, you want to lose it heads up, right?
Sure.
You don't want to have something crazy happen, and so.
And not to put any bad juju on anybody, but what happened to Stu today could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
So just no matter who leaves here with the points lead and how big it is, and unless it's mathematically eliminated, you still got a chance. And if you got a chip in a chair, that's all you can ask for. Stu Baylor's a fighter, as he's showing right now, to be out there and just fighting back, gaining every point that he possibly can to try to get himself back into this title hunt.
So we wait at the FMF PowerPoint, mile number 4 for our leaders. You're waiting to see Craig DeLong. As you see on screen, take a look at your FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am. It does still look like it is the points leader. Toby Cleveland leading the way. I believe that's Jack Walker now moved up to the 2nd spot with Dakota DeVore in 3rd. And so some good riding out of those guys. Only about 40 seconds separating 1st and 2nd in that XC3 class, with Dakota DeVore there in 3rd, just a few minutes back behind them. And so we'll see how things shake out in that one.
Mikey continuing to refresh, and now Stu Baylor has dropped outside of the top 10, back to 22nd and continuing to drop as the riders check in. So close enough that he definitely could get into the top 20 in another lap of racing, but right now has fallen back and continuing to drop as riders check in. So not awesome news for that Rocky Mountain T-League KTM team. Definitely a big hurt right now, but he is still trying to claw back any points that he can as they run. If it would finish this way and he were to score 0 points, Craig DeLong would have 25 points on Stu Baylor heading into our final round. Again, if Craig DeLong wins, if But as it runs right now, the checkered flag flew. This man on screen, the 342 of Craig DeLong, would have a 25-point lead on Stu Baylor heading into the Ironman GNCC in 2 weeks of time. That camera shot's deceiving because it looks like they're going to run right into that tree.
Yes,
Ricky
true.
Russell gets airborne, and I thought he was going to click that tree, but that is your top three as they run. And here we see Stu Baylor out in the field section.
Taking a look, I think he's settled in. I'm going to go 22nd.
Okay, so 22.
22nd.
So needing to make up 2 spots. There is the Babbitt's Monster Energy Kawasaki riders flying in formation. Josh Strang, number 17, leading the way. Just behind him, Grant Baylor. And they were, last we knew, were 5th and 6th, I believe, in the on course in the XC1 class. When we calculate in the overall, the XC2 guys, they were up in there. And no, looks like they are running 5th and 6th in that overall as well, with Trevor Bollinger in 7th. Liam Draper, your XC2 leader, having dropped back to 8th place in that overall with a lot of pressure behind him. The Trail Jesters KTM teammates running 2nd and 3rd. There is Trevor Bollinger. Good ride for him. Was kind of hanging out kind of in the back of that XC1 train early in the race and has really wicked it up and worked his way up into that number 7 spot in the overall.
Yeah, Bollinger, another one of those riders, having some, I believe he was injured at round 2. Was that when he went down? And had some issues. So coming back, took him a little bit to get the momentum going back, but good to see him starting to feel better on that Rockstar Energy Husky. Now taking a look back at Stu Baylor, and we talked about it. I mean, the guy's riding like a man possessed, but at some point, you almost start to ride too hard. You start to override the bike, especially in conditions like these.
Is that Mike Wachowski on the 282?
Very possible. Wachowski checked in 17th OA out of the XC2.
So those guys now, because they were together in the last shot, so Wachowski is now latched on to Stu Baylor and trying to catch a ride back up. Don't know what Wachowski's struggles have been today, but on the very first lap, he was pretty far back in the first camera shot that we saw. So maybe this will be an opportunity for him to claw his way back and get himself a little higher up in that XC2 class.
I'm telling you what, though, you can just tell in the body language of Stu. He is dropping the hammer, doing everything he can. So absolute chaos, fireworks going on here in the XC1. Still anybody's guess who's going to be taking home the title. And then, of course, we've got the XC2 title up for grabs today, as well as the XC3. Speaking of the XC2, there they go, popping through. Liam Draper, I believe that was that still Gus in 2nd, or was that Simmons?
It looked like it was Simmons in 2nd there, and then Riordan in 3rd, but it's hard to tell from just a quick clip. Those guys glued together, could be trading positions at any given time. There is Cody Barnes, so he has actually now made up a little bit of ground, and he's getting really close to that battle for the podium. And again, shout out to those guys. They've been glued together all day long so far.
Absolutely. Well, we've got just under an hour left of racing. How's it all going to shake out here at the Canati Tires Buckwheat 100? Stick around. We're going to get a word from our sponsors and see how it all shakes out.
Canati Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day with Racer X.
I'm Robert Christopher Weiss. I go by Chris, my middle name. I'm 16 years old, junior in high school. I'm racing GNCC. I just love racing dirt bikes. I race for the Focus X Pro-Am team. It's a good group of kids. We all get along, all help each other out, and it's a good group of people just supporting everyone. I race both motocross and GNCC. The series is going well. Had some good luck at some races, winning 4. Also had some bad luck with some mechanicals and injuries, so it's going pretty good. I'm planning to win the 250B championship. I love racing GNCCs. They're just a fun series to follow, and I love hanging out with my friends at all of them. It's always cool places you get to go to, and there's always fun tracks. I just started doing motocross this year seriously.
And Bryce coming out of New Jersey, 16 years old, sponsored by Focus X Gear, headed towards the front.
Racing Loretta's, the Amateur National. So it's a lot different than racing in the woods with all the guys that I'm used to racing the past few years. I'm racing against new kids that I've never raced before, and I'm going as fast as I can for that short amount of time, where it's a lot different than the 3-hour woods races that we do.
There's Robert Weiss on your screen, tripling back into Storyland, so he's still looking good, feeling good, and headed forward.
I ended up winning both my championships, the 250C Junior Limited Class and the 250C Limited Class.
And once again, now a 2-time champion in 2023, Chris Weiss.
I started riding when I was little, and I did ball sports and stuff like that. I never really liked it. I always just liked riding my dirt bike, and dirt bikes are just fun. They're something different than what a lot of other people get to do, and I just love doing it.
Nice little feature there, showing some love to one of our amateur riders. We are back here at the Monster Mile marker number 8 in what has been. If you're just tuning in, well, you've missed a lot. Hit rewind, watch the whole thing. I promise you want to see it. It's been crazy. Craig DeLong leading the way. Tough break for Stu Baylor. He's going to work, riding like a madman, trying to get as many points back as he can.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what he's got to do. I mean, there is no quit in Stu Baylor.
Nope.
He's going to give it everything he's got, and, you know, we're going to see how it pans out. Leaders on screen, the 342 of Craig DeLong. Wait a minute. No pressure from behind. He is now shaken, not by much, but this right here, biggest lead Craig DeLong has had all day.
Yeah, pretty even space, top 3 there. Once again, Ricky Russell is kind of yo-yoed back and forth. He starts to lose touch, and then reels them back in. But absolutely, yeah, it's not a huge lead, but the biggest we've seen so far today for Craig DeLong. We talked about the not necessarily the intensity, but being able to be that intense for this long in the XC1 class. Ryder Lafferty at the moment seems to be maybe just he's catching his breath. He's getting ready for a big final push here before it's all said and done. But Lafferty in his XC1 debut really, he's impressed me. I don't know about you guys, but I have been impressed to see the number 10. We saw him super strong early in the season, and good to see that he's still got that belief. He's still got that dog in him, if you will. Josh Strang, another one, as you pointed out on screen there. He's leading his teammate there, Grant Baylor. Strang, I know he's got something to prove as well. I think there's a lot of people, I believe this is his 17th pro season, and he still feels like he's got stuff to prove. He still feels like he belongs out there, and good to see a strong running out of the number 17.
And you don't go out there and run top 5 amongst this talent that close to the lead without still having some stuff to show, and he's doing just that today. Grant Baylor, worth note, fresh off his 3rd National Enduro title, I believe, making a total of 7 or 8 for the Baylor boys. They have won all but one of the last 7 seasons in that National Enduro title. So fresh off that, now we can kind of check that off the list, focus on the remaining 2 GNCCs today and 2 weeks from now at Ironman, and riding very well here today. You know, the Babbitt's Monster Energy Kawasaki team got to be happy to have 2 riders inside the top 6, and Lyndon Snodgrass not far behind there, solidly inside the top 10. I believe was in 8th.
Well, last time we checked in, he was
12.
just outside of that in 12th.
On correction, after the XC2. And there is little love for the 347 of Evan Smith on the Okamala Beta out there, and moving up from our XC2 class at the last round just 3 weeks ago in West Virginia. Back here again today and showing us what the big girl has.
Absolutely doing well. Taking a look, see who this is on screen. I believe at the bottom that was Ricky Russell, and then at the top of the screen, Craig DeLong at the moment. He's holding that lead. We've seen it yo-yo back and forth all across his top 3. Even when Lane Michael was up there fighting early, it seems like the second they start to pull away, they catch back up. But for the moment, Craig has put several bike lanes, I'd say about a second or so at least, between himself and Ryder Lafferty. Looks like Ryder stopping, trying to grab some hydration. Not sure if he actually grabbed it there. DeLong coming through. Couldn't quite see what the pit board said.
I know. I was hoping to read it too. Wanted to see what it said.
Ricky Russell there in 3rd. Fresh water bottle hanging from his helmet there. We flash back to the 8-mile marker. We see what looks to be maybe our XC2 riders checking through. Yes, there is your leader, the 198 of Liam Draper.
It's still those 2 Trail Jesters KTMs, but I couldn't quite tell who that was in
tough
second.
To catch the numbers now. They're getting pretty dirty, but we know it's Simmons, and there is Ben Kelly, so he has actually lost physical position to the XC2 guys. Last we saw, he was ahead of them, but Simmons and also Angus Riordan there in the 2 and 3 spots on those Trail Jesters KTMs. That is your podium bout. Didn't see Cody Barnes in that.
That's
was it? Okay.
Yep, right at the very end.
There, came right at the end, and so there's actually 4 riders still in the battle for that XC2 win. Haven't done the math. Mikey, do you know what does Liam Draper need to do today to put the wraps on this one?
Good question. As a matter of fact,
you don't need to tell us right now. We can do some math.
Okay, we'll
be
come back to that.
We're following this championship battle. Real quick here, for fodder and for argument's sake, Zach, Mikey, we'll talk about this. If you're Craig DeLong, things finish the way they are right now. Again, we know Stu Baylor is on the charge of making up points. If he were able to leave here with a win, 30 points. If Stu Baylor is not able to get into that top 20 and there's a 25-point gap, yes, of course, Craig would be ecstatic with that gap, not wanting it to happen the way it did. But think back to that last race. Those 5 points would mean Craig DeLong would have potentially locked the championship up today. So that's what we talk about when we say you can never miss those opportunities. And Craig said, hey, I need to learn to take every shot I can at the lead and at the win. All of those do pay off when you get to the end of a championship season like this. Again, a lot of racing left still here, over a lap and a half of racing to go before we see a checkered flag flying, and then that's when we tally the points. But it is fun to do the math mid-race and see where things are sorting out.
Well, and it's been interesting, too, you know, for me personally, obviously still my first year, full season of GNCC racing, and so many people talk about the summer break as almost the halfway point. It's the halfway break. It's not. There's only 3 rounds left after we come through the summer break, and at that point, I think all bets are off. You know where you're at in the championship standings, and that, to me, is when it's time to any opportunity at any point throughout all 3 of those races, as now you see your leader on screen, you have got to make the most of them, because just like you said, Johnny, you never know what is going to make the difference anything can happen. We've seen many different riders have mechanical issues, go down, not be able to go back up. Oh, Ricky Russell getting a little sideways there, jumping up the hill. Nice save from the Ampro Yamaha. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things. Hindsight, obviously, 2020, and going along with that, that's not an easy thing. Say, hey, you should have run it in on Stu Baylor, because the one guy you probably don't want to tick off at all is Stu. We know he's more than comfortable letting you know Rubbin's racing. You know, it's welcome to the championship battle, absolutely. And so, but I think for sure Craig's got that dog in him right now, and he's letting it eat.
Yeah, and I think, you know, as much as the outside influence, you know, whether it be the team, you know, his brother, Craig's got to be the one to make that, to pull that trigger, to start making those moves. And honestly, you know, to play devil's advocate here, I mean, look at Craig's career trajectory and what he's done and the way he works himself into things methodically and becomes comfortable. He doesn't take the chances. He doesn't take the risks. He doesn't push when he's not comfortable. What we're seeing today is he didn't have to take those shots. He didn't have to run it in. He didn't have to take the chance. So far, he's been able to ride his own race and control it from the front. And if you can do that, in my opinion, that's far more sustainable than riding outside your comfort zone, potentially ending up on the ground. And I think that's the way Craig's run his career, so it's good to see him stay true to himself, and ultimately it may potentially pay off with the biggest prize of all.
Like you said, Craig is the guy that's got to make that decision. He knows himself better than any of us know him, right? So, you know what? He may say, I'm not going to go elbow to elbow with Stu Baylor. I'm going to go out. I'm going to get a win. I'm going to do it my way. It's working for him right now.
Absolutely, yeah. And you got to find that balance.
Hold on. We just saw the first look back, I think, from Craig DeLong. Big look over his shoulder to see exactly where Ryder Lafferty is at. And that gap, again, is just kind of starting to stretch itself out just a tiny little bit. So maybe Craig's starting to put in a sprint and say, you know, hey, I want to see if it's working. Am I opening up a gap? And as you can see on screen, he is. He is all alone. Right back there is the number 10 of Ryder Lafferty. But what was a bike length or two is now about 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. To your point, as far as guys that take the chances, I don't have a name in mind, but there's some people that are on the complete opposite side. Sure. They've clearly got the speed. They are more than willing to go for it, but so many times they find themselves on the ground. Oftentimes you see a career defined by that. When they hit the ground, an injury happens time after time again, and it's always been, if they could just learn to ride it maybe 90% instead of that full 100 or maybe 100%, and they're always given 110. They're just going a little too far. And so for right now, I think Craig's feeling comfortable. He's in this position for a reason. It seems to have worked for him so far this season, and right now he's looking pretty comfortable out front.
Yeah, he looks comfortable, and he looks like he's doing it his way. Ryder Lafferty's still very much there. Ricky Russell still very much there. Jordan Ashburn not out of this one. And the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki teammates of both Baylor and Strang sitting back there still within striking distance as well. But the one thing I will say, when you talk about Craig DeLong and how he rides himself into things, I mean, here's a guy that, you know, he just kind of, Mikey, you interview him all the time. Zach, you get to interview him. He's kind of this unassuming, quiet person. When he gets on the motorcycle, he turns into a completely different person. He just has slowly not slowly, at a very high rate of speed, ridden himself into this confidence level where he now, I believe, for the first time in his life, believes, I'm one of the best motorcycle racers on the planet, and I'm going to go out there today and improve that. What I think we saw in his post-race interview 3 weeks ago at the Mountaineer, Mikey and I, you and I talked about this a little bit. You know, he seemed to be, we mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, a little peeved off that he didn't take that shot on that last straightaway at Stu Baylor. But it wasn't just that he knew the team and, you know, the people around him might judge him. It was almost like he kind of thought to himself, I didn't believe in myself enough. And I think today he's just shown he knows he's capable of this, and he's proving it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that metaphor for life. You know, you got to help yourself, right? I mean, nobody's coming to help you. You got to look out for you. You got to go out and get it. I mean, the racetrack's no different. He's got to go out and get it, and he's doing it today. He just happened to do it as soon as the waving of the flag, and he's trying to go from the start to the checkers in that mode.
One thing that may feel a little more comfortable for Craig, if he does know that that's Ryder behind him, you know, a lot of speculation could come in, you know, hey, is Ryder, you know, just sitting back there, being that he is a, you know, we'll put in quotation marks, a teammate of Craig's. He does not ride for the same team. He does not even ride the same brand motorcycle. But nonetheless, these guys ride and train together 5 days a week. They travel together to some of the enduros. They're buddies off the track. It's not necessarily that Craig is thinking, oh, Ryder's going to let me have this, because he knows darn well that if he gives Ryder an opportunity to take the lead, he's going to take it, especially if he gives him an opportunity to take the win. There's no question Ryder's going for that win. But what kind of gives you that little bit of extra confidence is hey, man, I've ridden with this guy hundreds of hours already this year. I know how he rides. I know, I'm going to be faster in this section. He might be a little faster in that section. And it's, it's just kind of knowing your opposition, knowing your opponent.
That's it.
And I think the understanding that Ryder's probably not going to do anything too risky to get by me. If he does have the opportunity and it's there, absolutely he'll take it. But I don't see him, running a front wheel in, trying to bumping into Craig or anything like that. Most of these guys have a respect for the title chase as well, and don't want to be the guy that causes a situation. So,
talking to Ryder and his goals were, I just want to go out and learn something. I think he's learned a lot today, and if I'm Ryder, I want to be that respectable. I have to talk to you after this race. I don't want to mess up anything for your championship run. I'm not in. I'm just here with my pencil and paper taking notes.
I think what Ryder Lefty has learned today is that he has the stuff to race at the highest level in XC1. This isn't the first time we've seen this in motorsports, specifically in motorcycle racing. We've seen a lot of times where guys from, the lights class will jump up to the 450 in motocross and supercross and have like a really good run. We've seen it before with XC2 riders jumping up both on ATV and two wheels here. When you become a week in and week out contender, to have to do this 13 times a year is a little bit different, but it's still knowing, hey, I did it once. Why can't I do it again? And today, Ryder Lafferty is proving, yes, I can do it.
Yeah, why not me? Why not? Like it.
Ricky, the teams are all looking close.
For
too.
sure,
like,
absolutely.
Hey, we just put this guy out there to see what he could kind of do. And
oh, holy smokes.
Right now, he is doing it very, very well.
It's a good fit.
You could argue that there may be, now obviously Ryder would love to be in the midst of a title battle in XC2, but since that's not the case, there's definitely a benefit, I feel like, for making your debut in an additional class. Even Addie Harris, you were talking about, jumping up to the big bikes after wrapping up a title early, to dip your toe in the water before the end of the season. Obviously, they're going to be on the bikes. They're going to be training. Addie moving up to a big bike, Ryder moving up to the XC1 class. They're going to have this entire off-season to train, but instead of, I'm going to train as hard as I can to try to find out at round one where I'm at, now Ryder's able to, hey, I know where I'm at. I've got that motivation going all off-season.
Let's hit the rewind button to yesterday. Obviously fairly close with Walker Fowler, and if you saw, GNCC did a great job of capturing the emotion when he crossed the finish line. And one of the things you heard him scream was, "I still got it." And winning that race, albeit some issues for Bryson Neal, but to work his way through the pack like he did, Craig DeLong on screen. Ryder Lafferty has closed the gap up. There's some lappers in the mix, and Ricky Russell now getting in there as well. So this thing is about to get heated up again, it looks like, as the gaps close down. But again, yesterday, and like you pointed out with Ryder jumping in here today, it's one thing to say, hey, my lap times on the practice track are showing me that I can battle with these guys. I feel good. I know I can do it. Saying you can do it and actually doing it are two very different things, and there is that extra measure of confidence of, I know I can did it. I know I can did it. I know I can do it because I did it.
Yes.
And, there should be zero question in Ryder Lafferty's, no matter how he finishes out today, there should be zero question in his mind that he belongs in the XC1 class.
That's it. You're right, Johnny. You can't, all those guys talk about it from the top down. You cannot replicate race pace.
Ricky Towery's not there on Wednesday.
That's it. Nailed it.
Well, we're going to have to change the saying, but there used to be a saying that some of the best riders at the practice track and some of the best riders at local races that just can't perform at GNCCs. We're not talking about any of these guys.
Sure.
Myself.
Stop.
There was a few. And the saying used to be, Chris Bach coined the phrase, a good buddy of yours and mine as well, Mikey. He said, hey, man, the repeater banners and Rodney Tomlin on the PA system will really jam a fella up if you're not mentally ready for it. Well, now we're going to change that to the repeater banners, Mikey Waynes, Jackson Burrell, and Zach Herron on the PA system will really jam a fella up. And we say this is the biggest stage in off-road racing in the United States. You can have the speed, you can have the backing, you can have the everything that you need, but you need to get in that mindset to say, now we go execute. And Ryder Lafferty's done a phenomenal job of that today.
Yeah, right here on the broadcast, on TV, he's got to be feeling good. Anybody that's a Ryder Lafferty fan, or maybe you're the novice fan that go, who the heck is this guy? Yeah, go find out. He's quiet. It's a quiet confidence, but when he's on that motorcycle, kind of like Craig DeLong, almost carbon copies of each other in that regard of
letting the bike do the talking.
That's it.
Yep. And hanging out during the week, these two mesh. I
could see it.
Their personalities are similar. They're quiet. They do a lot more listening than they do talking. This is a group that has some big personalities. Johnny Gerard,
for sure.
Hangs out with these guys.
I mean, Caleb alone.
Yes. Caleb's pretty quiet. For the most part.
He's mellow.
But these two guys are kind of just doing a little more laughing and watching and listening than they are, actually really kind of leading the Ryder. I think we talked about this a little earlier in the year. Man, this battle just seems to be heating up. We were on a long bike ride earlier this year, and I asked Mike Lafferty, 8-time National Enduro champion, multi-time GNCC winner, which is Ryder's uncle. Asked him, I said, Ryder doesn't have much to say, does he? And he said, well, why do you say that? I said, we're on a bicycle ride, and we're in the middle of nowhere, like out in the swamp of Florida, and we just so happened the way it slotted out, he and I were next to each other for 15, 20 minutes. I've never been short of words. And he's very polite. He answers your questions, but the minute he answers your questions, he just goes back to a blank face. And I asked him, I said, you don't have much to say, do you? And he just looked at me, and the funniest thing was, he just said, nope. And he looked right back at the trail. And then I actually got to have a conversation. I'm like, hey, was I bothering you?
Did
talking?
I upset
and
you?
he goes, no, man. Say what you got to say. I'll answer you if you got a question. He said, but I just think a lot. I don't really verbalize my thoughts.
Yeah.
I just kind of keep them inside. I focus on what I'm doing, and I stay present in the moment. And Uncle Mike is probably watching at home and super happy to see Ryder up
nodding,
there.
going, yeah.
And he said,
it nails it.
I said, are you so quiet because Uncle Mike does all your talking? And he looked at me and said, yep.
Yep, one-word answers. There you go. It's like interviewing a Pete rider.
Yep,
right there.
I
Tell
wanna
me about
thank
your race.
Mom,
Good.
Dad. Yep, yeah, exactly.
Who do you want to thank?
Did you feel
Dad?
good out there? Yes.
Yes. What was your favorite part? Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, we're waiting on the leaders here, and I got to tell you, I spent some time at yesterday's Stasic race in the evening.
It is pandemonium.
That was, and I know there have been some bigger ones, but that was big. There was so many kids, so many parents, and those kids were smiles ear to ear. So a big shout out to Griff Cotter, the entire crew that makes all that happen. They set up a heck of a finish line track there today, and the action was fierce. The smiles were big, and I don't know if he paid out, but Griff was telling all the kids on the PA system, you get a free scoop of ice cream if you race and 2 scoops if you win.
Wow.
Ooh, I like that.
They better watch out. I'm going to line up in the finale.
I was going to say, I'm going to give me a Stasic.
Whoa, age limit, Zach.
All right.
There is no weight limit, so
maybe an industry class.
There you go. I'm here for it.
Let's do it. I'm in. I can at least get top 10 if
I'll
there's
be first
10
in
of
the
us.
first turn, at least.
My ACL is already gone, so let's do it.
There you go. I'm in.
And Jackson Burrell is also, he's in the back. He's nodding. We've seen all his, if you don't follow him on social media, make sure you do. He has destroyed more pit bikes this year than the pit bike nationals combined.
Oh, he was burning laps at round 2 in Florida. He was throwing down on the pit bikes. So.
Oh, yeah, Fuel Ministries out there with us, yeah.
We need it. The Stasic has the big 20-inch and the 18-inch now.
Yes.
We're going to go out. I will overheat one of those batteries in 7.7 seconds.
Going back to your point, though, you were talking about Ryder Lafferty, and I could probably argue, I don't know Craig near as well as you do, but oftentimes the guys that aren't talking a lot outside, they're not talking to one another, the wheels are constantly turning inside. They're big thinkers, It's I don't know whether they've got the voice in their head, if you will, but they're constantly chewing over things, mulling over in their head. Even if they're not bouncing it off of other people, there's always stuff going on inside the heads of those, I feel like, quieter riders out there, whereas Ooh, popping on screen there.
Lappers coming into play, I believe, because these 3 have tightened up. Ricky Russell sitting there looking at the 2
big kick
riders in front of him and wanting a piece of that lead position. Ryder Lafferty sandwiched in between those 2 guys, and that is a battle. Looks like the gap has now opened up quite a bit more over the number 1, the Magna 1 Motorsports Husqvarna of Jordan Ashburn. There he is on screen, flashing through the trees here at the 4-mile marker. Needing to make haste if he wants to get up there, because now he's got pressure from behind. The number 17 of Josh Strang really starting to come into his own, has opened up just a little bit of a gap over his teammate there, Grizzly Grant Baylor.
We hadn't talked about it in a minute, but we'll refocus. Stu Baylor now up into the top 20. He is now 19th overall. So in there, yes, but not by much.
2 points. He is keeping it alive. This will go to Ironman. It will, even if he does not score top 20, but each one of these points becomes a very valuable point in the championship. I mean, heck, as we saw back in 2021, that championship came down to a mutter, and it was just a matter of who can even make it to the finish line, let alone, win the race. It no longer became about who won. It was just who can score a point to win the championship.
That's what I was just about to say. With the season that we've had and the weather that we've had, anything can happen here in this final round. I've heard the stories as we see Trevor Bollinger making
Let's
some
give
moves
this
on
guy
screen.
some love.
For
he is really starting to push the pace, looking like he may have made up a little bit of ground on those riders in front of him, sitting there in that 7th place spot. That's one of our A or B class riders coming through there. Next up, we should be looking for the 347 of Evan Smith coming here soon. He would be the next XC1 rider, and I believe he is still physically ahead of our battle in that XC2 class, which is shaping up to be a barn burner between Liam Draper, Mason Simmons, and also Angus Riordan. We'll watch and keep an eye out for that one. There is Evan Smith, the 347 Liqui Moly factory beta there, coming through at the 4-mile marker, and nope, thought it was the XC2 battle coming.
I saw the green fender too. I got excited.
Yeah.
So waiting now on the next group. Let's see.
Will it be the 198 of Liam Draper? Will it be the 118 of Mason Simmons? Or will it be Angus Riordan there in the point position? Angus really hasn't led too much of this race. Liam has done most of the leading. And we did look at the points there. I'll pull those up in a minute. We'll talk about what Liam needs to do to close this out. But he is in the position to do that here today. And
there
he is in the lead position.
He said, I'm going to make it easy on you. I'm going to do everything I can do.
That's it.
And, but these guys have not really spaced out at all this whole race, I feel like.
No, and those Trail Jester guys have just been glued to it, wheel to wheel. And Cody Barnes, was that him that just went by? He was still pretty close there, so he's not out of this battle yet.
Well, guys, it's coming down to the last little bit here at the Canati Tires Buckwheat 100. How's it all going to shake out? Will we be crowning some titles? And how are things going to shake up in that XC1 championship battle? We'll get a word from our sponsors and then close this thing out after this.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
Amsoil runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. you know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a, you know, a good race here or, you know, a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
GNCC Racing on Racer TV is brought to you by Progressive. You could save hundreds on your car insurance. Specialized turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. And welcome back. GNCC Live here on Racer TV. A little look back in time. 2022, the Buckwheat 100. What a difference a year makes. That looks sunny and warm, although we're still in sweaters nonetheless.
We got some familiar faces up front. Ricky Russell on a little different machine. Craig DeLong still on that Rockstar Husqvarna. And out front, the 989 of Thad Duvall. 206 of Josh Toth. Stu Baylor on a blue machine. Jordan Ashburn still rocking the number 3.
On his pursuit, there he is on cue, the Magnum 1 Motorsports number 3 at the time. That would change to a 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he wrapped that up here.
No, he had already wrapped it up.
He'd already wrapped it up.
He wrapped it up at the Buckwheat, or at the Burr Oak, which
there we
was
go.
the
See,
round
that's the one
before the Buckwheat. So he had wrapped it up 2 full rounds early last year, and was already, you know, having that championship in hand, but nonetheless still out there trying to battle for a win and show that he was ready to defend that championship here in 2023. Josh Toth.
Ooh, Josh Toth, what's up, buddy?
Heard he may be coming to race Ironman on a 2-stroke.
Oh, I hope so. That'll be cool. Do it, Josh.
The fans will love it.
Fans will love it. Indiana will lose their minds for you.
Stu Crew on the blue crew, and he would take over the point position on a charge, and out front, leading the way here. Jordan Ashburn giving chase. Thad Duvall there, and Craig DeLong also. Oh, there's the Craig DeLong look back.
That was it. And Stu, a little look up over the shoulder asking, where is everybody? And again, Johnny, what a difference a year makes. Not going to be the case today. Stu, boy, he'd like to have had this view today. You know that for sure. Boy, but nonetheless.
Craig DeLong making the pass and getting up into the 3rd place spot. So your podium ended up being Jordan Ashburn there in the 2nd place spot and Craig DeLong in 3rd.
Rounding out that box.
Here we are, leaders on screen. The 342 of Craig DeLong out front of that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, and heavy pressure from behind from the number 10 of Ryder Lafferty on the Coastal Racing Gas. A guy, as you put it, Mikey, riding, playing with house money today. Now, wait a minute. Ricky Russell has given up a little bit of ground, and look at that bike behind him. It is the number 1 Magna 1 Motorsports Husqvarna of Jordan Ashburn, and right behind him, Josh Strang. Josh Strang has just thrown himself into the conversation for a podium here today, folks.
All right.
He is on a charge, 6 laps complete, and they are charging, looking like Josh Strang could put himself in contention for a podium finish here today.
For sure, and it looked like, at a quick glance, it looked like Ricky Russell was banging the bar pad. I don't know if he had a little get off, maybe clipped a tree, something, but hopefully everything all right. Hopefully he can maintain, get back up in there.
So that would have been your 3rd, 4th, and 5th place riders. Here comes the 6th place ride of Grant Baylor on that 314 Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki. Again, fresh off that National Enduro title just a week ago. Trevor Bollinger there in the background on the 739 Rockstar Husqvarna. in the 7th place spot in that XC1 and still clinging to the 7th place spot in the overall. Next rider we should see coming through would be the 347 Liqui Moly Factory Beta of Evan Smith, running in the 8th place spot in XC1, back in about the 12th place spot?
10th.
10th now 10th. He's up to. So he's made some ground. He's made up a few spots in that overall. And giving, looks like, should see our XC2 riders coming through. Oh, we flash ahead, and here are the leaders on screen. Craig DeLong still leading the way.
So DeLong out front, Ryder Lafferty in that 2 spot. We've talked extensively about Lafferty today, but Johnny, you know, we talk about this a lot. You know, a guy moves up from XC1 to XC2. What a huge jump that is. Okay, we know Ryder can do the 3-hour pace. There's no questions about that as they enter the pro pits here. But the question mark is, can he hang with those guys in the XC1 for 3 hours? I know you can't judge a man's career or the trajectory of his career on one race, but today Ryder Lafferty checked all those boxes and then some.
There's one box left for Ryder Lafferty to check today,
P1.
And that would be to make the move and make the pass for the win here today with just a few miles of racetrack remaining. Back to the 8-mile marker. There we see your XC2 leader, Liam Draper, on the 198 machine with heavy pressure from the duo of Trail Jesters KTMs. The Angus Riordan and Mason Simmons flying in formation, both trying to attack, and it does now look like they have lost the 99 of Cody Barnes, so it becomes a 3-rider battle for that win and those podium spots.
XC2 and XC1 looking almost identical today. I mean, the guy out in front, he's been out front all day, and he's had pressure all day. He's had no rest.
Look at this drone shot. This is it, folks. This is the battle for the win here today at the Canati Tires. I almost said Burroughs.
See,
Buckwheat, you got it in my
now.
mind,
Sorry.
Mikey. The Canati Tires Buckwheat here, and it looks like Craig DeLong has us in hand, but it is not over. Ryder Lafferty goes down, folks. Ryder Lafferty is down. He was sending it into that corner. He is picking up the machine, but he's off the track, and he is going just ahead of Ricky Russell. Ricky
barely.
Russell now has pressure all over the back of Ryder Lafferty for that 2nd place position. Craig DeLong has about 8 seconds of breathing room, give or take, 7-8 seconds. So this one, that may have been the move that decides it right there. Ryder Lafferty pushing the pace. Just as he went into those trees, we caught the back end kick out, and he went down.
Now just about 5 minutes away from a checkered flag here at the Buckwheat 100. Craig DeLong in control. Lafferty goes down. Russell trying to capitalize. And all that happened right there for Craig was a little more breathing room to try and stretch this out some more. But we know we got a lot of lap traffic in between there. Anything can still happen.
Absolutely. Nothing. You don't give these wins away until the checkered flag flies. But Ricky Towery has it in hand, ready to wave that in just a few minutes here at the 11-mile marker. A lot of lapped riders, you pointed out, Mikey. He's going to have to navigate these, but he should have a good gap of 5 to 8 seconds, give or take, with Ryder Lafferty going down in that last camera shot. We watch, waiting for the 342 machine of Craig DeLong, and here he comes, leading the way. No pressure from behind at the moment.
One of our lapped riders right there. Now let's see, is it going to be Lafferty?
Ricky Russell has made the pass.
So the 2-1-2, how far back area is Ryder Lafferty? Not too far back from him.
But he's got pressure from behind. Josh Strang. Oh, wait, that was Jordan Ashburn.
Well, I thought that was Strang.
Yeah, Ashburn and Strang right there.
Oh, it was both of them. Okay.
The camera glitched and we missed.
All right,
Ricky
fair
Russell,
enough.
Ashburn, Strang. And Ryder Lafferty.
And Ryder Lafferty, yes, correct.
Live drone will keep an eye out. The 342 of Craig DeLong with just a few seconds gap, but is it enough for him to hold off a charging Ricky Russell on that Ampro Yamaha? Ricky very hungry to get the win today. Craig DeLong, knowing that every point counts in this championship chase, at this point likely does not know exactly where Stu Baylor is, nor does he know how many points he stands to gain, but he does know 30 points is what you get for winning, and that's the max he can take home today. That's exactly what he wants to do.
And knowing the kind of guy Craig is, let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Anything can happen, all the cliches, right? If he grabs a win, knowing Craig, he's going to say, felt great, glad I got the win. Where did Stu finish? Where did Ben finish?
Yep.
That's going to be the first questions out of his mouth, guaranteed. But right now, first things first, just bring it home
Don't start thinking about that until you cross the finish line.
That's
right now, think about where am I going? What am I
Yes.
doing? Focus on the race.
2 wheels, racetrack in front of me, hit my marks. Here we go.
This is it. We're coming down to not only the final miles, but the final fractional miles. Takes a look over his shoulder. He did that last lap, and what he saw was an absolute eyeful of the number 10 of Ryder Lafferty and the 212 of Ricky Russell. There is Russell in the background, and what looks to be 3 riders all battling. We believe that is Ryder Lafferty, Jordan Ashburn, and Josh Strang all battling over that 3rd place spot. So we'll see it here up close and personal at the 11-mile marker. Craig DeLong around the corner. No need to look back now. He knows he's got a little gap. And here comes the battle, folks.
Boy, this podium, anything but sorted out. Craig DeLong well out in front now with a gap. There goes
Jordan
Ricky
Ashburn
Russell
has made
in
the pass.
Air. Is it the number 1? It sure is. There is Strang right on his rear wheel, and there is Lafferty. Dang. Still a great ride, and not taking anything away from him. You know he wants that podium, but mercy.
This is it, folks. These are the final corners. He is coming around the back side here. Nothing between him. One section of woods, the final corners, and he will be working towards a checkered flag in the hands of Ricky Towery, and another win here on the 2023 season for Craig DeLong. This could be the one that puts the nail in the coffin. Takes a look over his shoulder, wants to make sure the pit boards are right. They're telling him, hey, you got this, you got a couple seconds. Ricky is back there, but he's not within striking distance. Craig is just trying to be clean, hit his marks, and get this one to the finish line without incident.
What a stellar ride by Craig DeLong. Been there all season long. He is, if he can hang on here, he's got 2 wins under his belt, and he is now just about a minute or less than, I'd say about 30 seconds away. What do you got, Johnny?
Whoa.
How is that heating up for the 2 spot?
Whoa.
Is it Ashburn?
No, Ricky Russell, and Josh Strang has worked his way up to the back of Ricky Russell for the 2nd place spot. Josh Strang is on fire. He's gotten around Jordan Ashburn and is now putting the pressure on Ricky Russell. Folks, the freight train is coming. Get around the finish line. The number 17 machine is absolutely on a mission.
Josh Strang, the ageless wonder that is Josh Strang, just always seems to find a way to make it happen every single year. And waiting on the 342 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, Craig DeLong to pop out of the woods here and bring it home for a W, and most importantly, a points lead as we head into the final round in Indiana in a couple weeks at Ironman.
And we'll have to keep an eye out. Watch where Stu Baylor crosses the line, but here it is. Today it is going to be the 342 of Craig DeLong. He's got nothing but about 2 turns to go. He just went by on screen there. There is your 2nd place, Ricky Russell. Looks like he opened up just enough of a gap over Josh Strang, but Josh Strang is there in the 3rd place spot. He has wrestled that final podium position away with a huge last lap charge.
Well, how about this, ladies and gentlemen? Make some noise. A 3-4-2 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Craig DeLong will bring out the checkered flag for his 3rd time this season. And as we said earlier, most importantly, he will bring that points lead into Indiana in a couple of weeks. A huge, huge advantage for him in the favor of this championship.
Ricky Russell fought hard, was in touch with the lead all day, and a massive, massive last lap charge from that guy right there, the number 17, the Habits Online Monster Energy Kawasaki of Josh Strang, pulling out the ageless wonder magic, putting himself on the box here today. Bring it home,
Bring it
all
home.
The pit board says.
There you go, 3-4-2. Right in front of the whole family there. Love it.
Shout out to Ryder Lafferty. Great ride today.
For
Looking
sure,
like
man.
He did cross the finish line in the 5th place spot and a top 5. You know, first ride in XC1, nothing to shake your head about for sure. Was up in a podium position and honestly went down, looked like he was making a run at Craig DeLong for the lead there in the final miles of the race. Just didn't quite get back up to speed fast enough and was gobbled up by the riders behind him, ultimately crossing the line in the 5th place spot. But a hats off to him. But this guy right here, the man of the hour, the man of the day, and one step closer to being the man of the year.
Yeah, all smiles right there, rightfully so. A little bit different body language out of Craig this week compared to a couple of weeks ago. This is what he set out to do. And Johnny, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe you can't remember either because this season's been so nuts. Is he our first guy this year that was basically flag to flag, whole shot and
It's the first time I've seen it. I wouldn't, you know, it's the first one that I remember.
Yeah.
It seemed like we've always had battles. We haven't had anybody. Yeah, I can't, to be honest, I can't remember the last time that was done any year.
I mean,
like, you know, it has happened.
Well, the guy behind him has done it, for sure.
Sure.
Caleb.
Sure. A lot of post-race downloading going on there.
Yep.
But look at that. American flag. He's supporting the American effort over in Ernie France there.
Heck yeah.
Making sure he supports those guys as they defend America's honor. He's doing it here stateside and defending his own honor, getting back what he feels he left on the table 3 weeks ago in West Virginia, comes back to West Virginia, gets it done today in a big way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say after this when everything going right for him. And here a rev limiter down there.
I think that might be the 198 of Liam Draper.
Let's see if it probably got to be close.
No, here it is. They're coming in. Here's the battle for the win in XC2, and it came down to the final corners. Looked like he was going to get past, but Liam Draper holds on to it, winning
there you go, Liam.
your XC2 championship.
Wow, congratulations to Liam Draper. You know what that meant to him. He'd been working on this for so long, Johnny. Like I was saying, you know, I got to the point almost on podiums. It was like, man, congrats on another hole shot. But you could just see the body language. He wanted so much more, and it's finally happened for him. Liam said, all right, I got it. Now it's your turn there.
Well, that was, did you win? That was what the finger was. He said, yeah, and then the knuckle bump. So these guys are buddies off the track. You know, you could see the excitement from both of these crews. Big day for both. And Zach Herron is down with our winner, Craig DeLong.
Hey guys, I just told Craig I'm going to ask him if he's going to get a bark. He said, I've been barking for the last 3 hours, man. That's how it's done. We knew you needed to get it done. We heard the pre-race interview. You said, I just need to win. You went out and executed. How's it feel?
Man, it feels awesome. Like, doesn't feel real, honestly. Just a storybook day, just start to finish. And, man, it wasn't easy. Ryder and Ricky and, man, they were riding good. I couldn't get away from them. I was trying hard, and, man, they just stuck right to me. So I think Ryder had a crasher at the end, but congrats to him, man. He rode awesome, and same to Ricky. So it's unfortunate for Stu. I heard he had a problem, so you never want to hear that, you know, especially with the two of us were battling back and forth, you know, and Ironman, we're ready for a battle, you know, and it'd be nice to, you know, if we were going head-to-head, like, you know, so it's a bummer to hear that, and but you know, I did what I needed to do. I got out front, and I just rode my own race, and man, it feels good.
Yeah, we were about to say you led start to finish doesn't really tell the whole story. You were under pressure for majority of the entire race, whether it was from Ryder, Ricky Russell. It seemed like no matter what, you didn't have a ton of breathing room, but you never seemed to waver. We didn't really see you looking back any, just focused on what you needed to do.
Yeah, I would take a glance over occasionally, just trying to, you know, because I would put in little sprints just to see that I could get it like maybe 10 seconds at the most, and then I hit a lap or something, they would just get right back onto me. So I knew it was tough to pass, very tough to pass. So I knew if I didn't make any mistakes, that, you know, they weren't really going to be able to run it up on me. So, man, what a day.
What a day indeed, man. I know you got a ton of great people helping you out. Who needs to thank you to get to the finish line?
I got to thank the whole Rockstar Husky team. We put in some work this week and actually got the bike better, and man, it showed. That's for sure. The bike was working good, and so big thanks to these guys for putting in the hard work, and all the team sponsors, all the team guys. Jason, my mechanic, Lonnie, Leon, the suspension guy, Anthony, Bauer. I'm sure I'm forgetting other people, but you know, huge thanks to them guys, and then all the team sponsors and Rockstar, EKS Goggles, Carry Resources. It's my buddy Gary's birthday over here, so happy birthday to him, and all my friends and family had a lot here today, and man, it means a lot, so thank you.
You said you just needed to win. That's exactly what you did. That is your XC1 winner, Craig DeLong, and the job done here at the Buckwheat 100.
Well, a little different interview out of Craig this week compared to a couple of weeks ago. That's a happy man, and jumping back to a shot, this is Stu Baylor.
Where's his front fender? Yeah, so he's working his way to the finish line minus a front fender. Had a rough day.
Yeah, just hate to see it. I don't want to see that for anybody. And even Craig said that. And don't get me wrong, Craig will appreciate a little bit of breathing room in Ironman.
And we just talked about that. You know, you're kind of talking out of both sides of your mouth, but not in a bad way.
Sure.
You don't want to gain an advantage the way he did today, but an advantage is an advantage. Mm-hmm. And there's 12 races. We all know this. You got to be there to finish them all. And an unfortunate, unavoidable incident for Stu today that cost him some points. But he's out there trying to claw back everyone that he possibly can. He had worked his way into the top 20 at the completion of lap number 6. As he works his way towards the finish, we will get the update. We'll do the math quick, and we'll let you know what the scenario is going into the final round of racing. But here we are with Jackson. He's got today's second-place finisher, Ricky Russell.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm down here with our second-place finisher, Ricky. Ricky, what a wild ride, but you held on to it, wound up getting the second. Take us through today.
Yeah, no, it was an epic track, but it was hard to push. We were riding really fast all day. I saw it right on Craig Mustang when we pit. Ryder got by me, and it was like when I tried to push a little more, I'd make mistakes, and it was just, we were at that speed where we were almost at the limit. And last lap, I tried to make a pass on Ryder, and I went down, so Craig got away, and then then I was trying to catch up and saw Ryder again, and he must have fell, and then Craig was gone. So pulled it in for second. I'm happy. Rode good all day, and I feel really good too. So can't complain. Just really got to thank my wife for coming and helping me this weekend, and my mom and dad back home, and Ampro Yamaha FC suspension. We've really been testing, trying to make things dialed in, and really helped us out there today. So thank you all of our awesome sponsors.
Ricky, how do you feel going into the final round?
I feel good. I always like the end of the year. I always seem to ride better. Last year I was able to get the win at Ironman, so excited to go to Ironman.
All right, guys, that's your second place, Ricky Russell.
Where he finishes in the overall. With Ben Kelly's 13th place finish today, that does eliminate him from championship contention for the 2023 series. Craig DeLong scoring 30 points today, coming in with 203, leaving him with 233 points. Ben Kelly with an even 200, meaning the most he could score is 230 if he were to win Ironman. If the results stand as they are and everything is accurate on live timing and scoring, that would mean Craig DeLong has eliminated Ben Kelly today from championship contention, and we will wait and see where Stu Baylor finishes and what that means heading into the 2023 Ironman 2 weeks from now in Crawfordsville, Indiana.
So while we wait on Stu to check in to see where he's going to finish as far as his top 20 is concerned, looks like Jackson Burrell standing by there with Josh Strang.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm here with our third place, Josh Strang, on the podium yet again. Take us through that ride.
Yet again, man, it's been too long. Georgia, third round this year, so it's been a tough year. Track was fun, man. It was you had to be patient. It was really hard back and slick, but no, I don't know, just it felt good today. I mean, I wish I would have got a little bit better start and been up front with the front guys because I think they had about 20 seconds on us all day. So it was fun. Made a couple of passes there right before the end, like, I don't know, a mile from the finish. So it makes it fun racing like that. You know, most of this year I've just been riding by myself, so to be able to battle and get on the podium, dude, I'm stoked.
Well, congratulations on the podium. How do you feel heading into this final round?
Yeah, you know, it's good. Like I said, this year has been subpar. I'm ready to get the year done and start a new season next year.
All right, guys, you heard it. That's your third place, Josh Strang.
Time we saw Josh up there, but man, Josh always just seems to find a way onto the podium season after season, and I hope we get to keep seeing him.
I hope we get to hear from somebody that you probably want to hear from too right now.
Liam,
a certain little Kiwi.
Oh yeah, we've got to find an interview with Liam Draper if he's down there. He's worked so hard on that XC2 championship. I know we're waiting to see where Stu stacks up here. Now, Stu has checked in. Right now, he sits 19th overall. Let me see who's behind him, see if anybody's going to bump him down.
So he actually lost a position.
Yeah, he did. And
so
Nick DeFeo, Lane Whitmer yet to check in out of that 258. He may be bumped down a little bit more, but I'm thinking that 19 is going to hold.
All right, we'll wait. We'll watch that for just another moment here. But we do know the top 3 checked in both our XC1 and XC2. We had so much action, we really didn't get much of an update on that XC3 class today.
Yeah, good point.
But if we do take a look quick here for that FMF XC3, take it away, Mikey.
Well, we're still waiting on those guys to check in, but Toby Cleveland should be able to take home the win as long as he's still pacing where he was. He had a minute 14 on Jack Walker in the 2 spot, and Dakota DeVore would round out your top 3 and by a big margin. And go ahead, Johnny, what do you got?
Are you seeing this on screen? I don't know what class this is, but that was the wildest battle I've seen into the finish. They were bar to bar, locked elbows right through the banner.
Good for them.
They were fighting it out, making sure that they gave every last inch of energy that they had on the track. That's what GNCC racing is all about.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. There we go. There is the XC2 champ right there. He's down there kissing baby, signing autographs, and standing by with our good buddy Zach Heron. Talk to him. And Liam, you better do a shoey on the podium, buddy.
Now, Liam, I'm not sure if you heard, but you just got the call out, man. You're the XC2 champion. Congratulations. The emotions. Oh, they were telling me it was clinched up. So Mike was saying he was expecting a shoey on the podium. All right, so we're going to wait. We think maybe, definite maybe. I want to get that right before we officially declare it. But nonetheless, you made it as easy as you could do it for your math. Go out there and get the win. That's exactly what you did. How does it feel? You executed under the pressure today.
Yeah, definitely. I love this track. It's an hour from my house, so I knew I had to do good, and I know the landowner as well, so a little bit more pressure. But yeah, I knew a win would make the job a little easier going into Indiana. I mean, hopefully I won, but I think it's going to go down to Indiana.
So if it does, man, what's the game plan? Just try to repeat come the next one?
Yeah, definitely get a good start and just go at it again. Today was brutal. Them 2 Aussie boys gave it to me, and the guy I had to beat was Gus, and he's second in the championship, and he was on my wheel for 3 hours. I think it was the closest race I've had in a long time.
Yeah, we talked in the booth. It seemed like you guys never moved a lot, but when you came off the track, I saw you said you had a big one. You got a big get off at some point?
Yeah, I think it was lap 2 or just before the pit. I got a pit bull to say hammer down, and I tried to sprint away, and I just couldn't break him, and I ended up having a good crash and kind of had to regain myself and get going again. But no, I'm super stoked. I don't even know what to say right now.
Well, Liam, we're waiting to get the official word whether you clinched. Even if not, you grabbed the win today. Who do you need to thank?
Massive thanks to this whole Ampro Yamaha team for giving me the opportunity and believing in me, my fiance, my family back home, and just all this family I have here in America, and all my team sponsors, my mechanic. Just thank you.
There you go, guys. That is your XC2 winner for the day, Liam Draper, getting the job done.
Good job, Liam. No, we're not getting Mikey. He's lost his mic.
Well, there it goes.
Oh, there you go.
That was my fault, Zach. I'm sorry I set you up for failure. For some reason, I had the impression if Liam won today, he was good. He was in the clear. We'll hold off on that a week.
We get to
he's in position,
champions.
though. He's in position. He's in a good position. So congratulations to him on that. Johnny, big takeaway from today.
Man, expect the unexpected. Things went crazy today. We were hoping to see a 3-rider battle going into Ironman for the XC1 championship. It's looking like it is now down to a 2-rider battle.
Yep.
Craig DeLong with what our quick math tells us is a 23-point lead going into the final round of racing. So you can do the math yourself. 30 points for a win. It would mean that Craig would essentially just need an 8th place finish to lock it up overall. But we'll see how that one pans out.
Yep.
Top 10 on screen, and man, it was a battle the whole way. Craig DeLong definitely just really asserted his dominance on the field today, grabbing the whole shot, and although challenged, never gave up the lead all day long.
He didn't, and big shout out to Ryder Lafferty. If you're just looking at the results, you go, 7th place, he did fantastic. No, he did stellar up to a little mistake there on the last lap, but nonetheless a fantastic ride by him. So I think that is going to wrap us up here for the Canati Tires. Hey, tell us real quick, where can folks find out more information from Canati?
Head over to CanatiTires.com, and we've got all your needs covered there, and appreciate the opportunity to title sponsor such a beautiful event. I mean, you can see the scenery here is great, and the racing action this weekend absolutely did not disappoint.
Yeah, it was a good one. Well, on behalf of everybody, myself, Jackson Burrell, Zach Heron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, Adam, Matt, Josh, Mike, Leah, and Kirsten, our drone pilot, Gabe Shull, our spotter, Hollywood, David Kripe, our EIC, Jordan McFadden, our director, big shout out to Griff Cotter, our producer, Adam Gordon, shout out to Dan Reinhardt, as well as our executive producer, Kerry Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.